Hello all and welcome back to another Death Before Dishonour. This is Season 2, Episode 2. First one, of course, being won by Flying Taco. So we're going to get underway very shortly here. Now I just need to quickly check all my messages. So we have, in round 1, it is going to be ODM's very own Chosen One, who's just currently updating his game, which is no problem, up against Noob for Life, who I believe this is his first ever tournament, which is incredibly exciting, and we have a few new faces today. Hello all and welcome back to another Death Before Dishonour. This is Season 2, Episode 2, first one of... Boop! There we go, okay. I had my own stream open there on a tab there to make sure it's working. Just need to mute that there and we're all good. So we have Chosen One up against Noob for Life in Game 1. Chosen, of course, being a very experienced player, whereas Noob for Life, I'm pretty sure he's played a lot of multiplayer, but this is going to be his first tournament. And in round 2, we have Uzumaki. Hopefully I'm not butchering your name too much there, my friend. Who has very valiantly stepped in at the last second, up with Rockin' Itza on My Pizza, who's also, it's his first tournament, so we've got quite a few new faces today. Be exciting to see them in action. I feel like new people often bring some pretty new and wacky builds. So we're just going to wait very quickly here while we get some people in, and I'll message them on Steam quickly. Cool, so I think they're both just doing the update, so we did in fact get a total update today, which only just changed a few minor fixes. I think there were some changes to the Dread Saurian, increasing its mass, which is very nice. Hopefully they'll be able to actually push through some people now, and also changing its attack animation and all kind of good stuff. So if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. We do videos here weekly. We do tournaments every 2 to 3 weeks, or Come At Me Bro live streams, where it is me against the world, and I take on whoever wants to go. So if you do want to be part of that, just do feel free to subscribe. And it looks like Noob for Life has joined. Cool, so give him a nice warm welcome. Hopefully lots of support for him today, as it is his first ever tournament. Now I'm going to quickly change around the scores. Let's see, he's going to be on the left. Noob for Life. Oh, let's do the middle. And on the right hand side, we are going to have Chosen One. There we go, so that is all set up. And I'm just going to check the Discord to see if there's any questions. Marcus is already nerfed. Yeah, Marcus got a nerf already, so I'll talk about the changes in a second. So we're just waiting for Chosen One to finish the download, and then we will get going. So Marcus, after the first initial update since his release, has in fact been nerfed fairly heavily. He's now even more squishy with less melee defense, and pretty much all his range damage does less damage. I believe his bow no longer counts as a bolt thrower, which I think it did beforehand, and now counts merely as a standard arrow, so shields can block his attacks, which is quite a heavy nerf. I feel Gorok is going to be very powerful against him now, although he was already the best one to kind of take him on anyway. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he plays. He was very, very kind of OP beforehand, so it's going to be interesting to see how he's actually been balanced out. And hopefully the Dread Saurian, being a bit cheaper now, will do some decent amount of work. Let's see if we've got some people watching. What's up, guys? Hope you're doing all good today. Cool. Good, just had a really close game with Uzumaki. Oh, so it looks like 2 of our opponents have been practicing against each other, which is very good. So Chosen has assured me he's got fantastic internet, which I know he has because I've played against him before. It's just the download, it's Steam, it does what it does. Now, yeah, I played Chosen in my first ever tournament, so I was really excited for it. First round, come up against Chosen, and I got absolutely slaughtered. So these guys are going to have a tough matchup today, as he's the most experienced in the tournament. But, you know, that's a lot of heavyweight on your shoulders. As I said before, new players really can bring in some off-meta picks and builds which throw you off guard. We've seen that in the past with some big players being knocked out of this tournament. Sweet, so it looks all good so far. Now, if you guys know any of these guys, do let me know and see if you have any favourites. The first map is going to be Troll Country, which is a pretty close quarters map. Nice and early on. I like to get this map out there as it just gets the action underway straight away. Afterwards, we're going to be on Tower of Hoeth, which is a pretty cool map. It's got lots of forest and often brings out some pretty unique tactics that come with it. And then after that, if this does go to game 3, we have Pillar of Bone. So, I actually have no idea who's going to win. I feel Chosen has to be the favourite, having previously played in a lot of tournaments before, but I have played against Uzumaki before as well, and I know he is a very good player, and I haven't played against the other two as of yet. I don't think. Rockin' Itza on my pizza does sound scarily familiar. I'm not quite sure why. So, let's just check. Preparing to launch. Sweet. So, Chosen 1 is preparing to launch, just sent me that now, which is all good. There is no rush. We are super chilled right now. So hopefully we will have the other competitors in chat in a second as well. So if you have any questions for them, please feel free to ask them. And yeah, you can critique their tactics, praise their tactics, give advice. Anything is absolutely welcome. We're a super chill tournament here. So the new players, we are following the Warhammer Cup rules and we're going to try to stick to them as much as possible. However, I'm going to be slightly lenient as 3 of the new players, it is their first ever tournament. So if they make any tiny errors, it's completely fine. As long as we all follow the main rules, which are going to be always must be attacking. We don't want any long drawn out kind of boring games. No kite drawing, of course. We don't want none of that rubbish. And obviously the main one, be nice to your opponent. And of course, actually lastly, but after that, is you can only choose one faction or use one faction once per matchup. We don't want the same matchup over and over and over again. But yeah, it should be pretty good fun. I'm excited to see what the guys can bring. I can't remember whose tournament was I played against Chosen, but it was a single round knockout. Over 3 games, you never know. I might have been able to scrape a win out of it. But we'll have to wait and see. So Noob for Life looks like he... Hey, here's Chosen. So we should get underway in a second. So the hero himself has arrived. No worries, man. It's all good to have a little break at the start. Let a few people join and I can just explain the rules and all the fun stuff. So they have the option of either doing a gentleman's agreement, so they just choose the matchup between themselves and negotiate it out, or we can do a pick and ban system where I will randomly select one of them to pick first and then ban a faction, then the other one gets to counter pick themselves. Cool, just check Discord, make sure we have... He was nerved and better patch a thing. Yep, so it looks like everyone's just discussing stuff, which is all fine. Cool. I'll let these guys decide what they want to do. They might be sending each other a message. Yo, Poison Ducky, what's up, man? Always good to have Poison Ducky here. So for those of you who don't know, Poison Ducky, part of the Duck clan, of course, myself being a rubber duck of war, does in fact have a YouTube channel. So please do, after this tournament, go check it out. Super fun guy, really nice guy actually. Really chilled out. It's really nice to go watch some of his videos. I was watching some of his live streams the other day actually. He does have a Gorok campaign going up. Cool, I'll let this guy decide. I can do both, whichever you want in flight. Cool. Nice to see the competitors just getting on being nice and chill. That is one of the main kind of, not rules, but one of the main things I look for in a tournament. If people are easy to get on with and they're nice and chill and, you know, they're just there to have fun. And at the end of the day, obviously I want them to compete and try their best. But as long as they're just there for fun, they will always get invited back. So it looks like we have Lizard Men up against Dark Elves, a matchup I used to really struggle in when I played as the Lizard Men, who are my main faction, as I don't play Dark Elves that much, and they really managed to pin me down. However, recently, thanks to some advice from a rocker boss, I actually learned to kind of deal with it a little bit better and try and win that skirmish game, which can be really key against the Dark Elves, and I think maybe this could be a matchup where my beloved baby Razordons are actually effective. I've been trying to get them to work as much as possible. They're not too good. So So Chosen One is ready, just waiting on Noob for Life. Razons have been buffed in the recent patch, however they've had some weird stuff nerfed, which I don't really understand. I don't have the stats up in front of me, but overall it looks like they have got a buff. Sweet, looks like they're good to go, so let's get this battle underway. So, Chosen One, all the pressure is on him. I believe he's probably won some tournaments before. He's a very, very good player, and he's representing ODM today. So last week we had the Extreme Meme Team's Verio Flying Taco come through and take the victory. I think it was up against A Move Hacker. I'm trying to remember who was in the final. I think he was a part of it. But this time we have an ODM member, and everyone else is clanless. I always wonder how these clans get started. Let's have a little look at this. Oh, and by the way, best news, my mouse is fixed. It no longer freezes, so we can actually watch stuff, and I'm loving the looks of this army straight away. So Noob for Life, gone for a very experimental Lizardman build here. Here's some Cold One Spear Riders on the flank, and for his main battle line, he's gone for Skink Cohorts with Javelins. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those little fellas there, who will do a decent job, nothing too special, and it looks like they're going to be accompanied by 4 units of Chevron Saurus Warriors, which is going to be very nice. Now he's got a small leadership core over here, the Skink Chief on foot! I have not seen this guy in competitive play yet, I do not believe, so it'd be very interesting to see him. Nice little harass unit. He also has a Slar Mage Priest of Light here. Looks like he has brought a ton of spells with him, which you always expect. Net of Amantop, which is very good. Reno's Time Warp, incredibly good, turning those Saurus into killer machines. Bloodstack Shut of Spite, Aura of Quetzal, and Shield of the Old One, so nice pick over there. He has a Feral Carnosaur for bodyguard duty there, and one of my favourite units, he's brought the Umbral Tide, Regiment of Renowned Salamanders, who do in fact have Stalk and Perfect Vigour, which is quite nice. If I'm not mistaken, he had a second unit here of Salamander Hunting Packs, and over in the distance, it looks like he has a unit of Cold One Spear Riders. So was there 2 of those? Yes, there was indeed. So very nice build overall. Be interesting to see how those Salamanders do. Now for the Chosen One and the Dark Elves today, front line has gone for Dread Spears on the flanks and then Bleak Swords holding down that centre. So nice, cheap and cheerful, with some more Dread Spears on the other flank. Here's a second line of Bleak Swords mixed in with Dread Spears as well, and 1 unit of Blackguard of Nagaron, so going very heavy and very wide in the infantry game here. Now let's see what else he has in the back. He has 1 unit of Cold One Knights chevroned up one, which is very key because I believe that allows them to beat the Lizardmen ones, which they normally lose against. He has the Knights of the Ebon Claw, Regiment of Renowned Dread Knights. I haven't seen these guys use either, so we're seeing some very cool units right here. Looking very nasty and gangster as they do, and they're going to be accompanied by another unit of Cold One Knights. Now for his leadership, he has gone for Big Daddy Malekith himself, up on top of his Black Dragon there. Causes Terror, very good spellcaster, and seems to rally at impossible situations. I believe in one of our first tournaments, he ran with something like 30 health. It was madness. He's brought Gaze of Malice, Soul Sealer, of course, very powerful, Word of Pain. Of course, he has that Noxious Breath. So when they are good... Oh, and it also looks like he has 2 units of Dark Riders, Repeater Crossbows. Of course he does. Very competitive pick there up in front. Cool, looks like both of them are getting going. So the Lizardmen are immediately charging down the hill, pushing forwards. I'm going to see how they fare against this very wide Dark Elf line. It looks like he's going to overload this left flank here. The Dark Riders pushing up, being escorted by this very nasty blob of Cold One Knights, Dread Knights, and of course Malekith himself. Umbral Tide are going to be key here at taking down these Cold One Knights. However, they've got to be rather careful. There's a lot of enemy who could surround them, and Dark Riders can do a ton of damage to him. However, in return, of course, the anti-large will be pretty nice, and a few flaming shots do come in there and do tear down a few poor Dark Riders who do not want to be sitting still and taking this fire. They can get wrecked pretty damn quickly. They're doing some decent return fire whilst the Umbral Tide are setting up. Cold One Spear Riders just scaring those guys off, keeping them back nice and far. Malekith, however, is looking around. Again, we're looking for some tasty snacks for his big Black Dragon. So Dark Elves are pushing up now. The Lizardmen holding a fairly defensive pose. I'd move up these Skink Cohorts slightly so they can throw some Javelins in there. But the Cold One Knights being used very defensively in the back, trying to protect these fairly expensive 2 units of Salamanders. Fairly expensive little core there as they try and just shield off these Dark One Riders where they can. They're getting in some sneaky shots all over the place. Dark Elves are simply moving back as they are attacking on this flank, so it's fine. They're getting some shots in and just fleeing and really positioning now. Malekith is moving forwards, looking for some tasty targets. He's trying to get a full surround. If you look at the mini-map here, you can see all the red dots are getting very heavy in the surround. And Malekith, in fact, does drop in. Very risky, though. He is going to be netted here. The Umbral Tide can simply snake away, turn around, and all of these anti-large shots are going to be coming in from the Salamanders. However, he's taken this opportunity to get the Dark Riders and Cold War Knights round the back here. This could be very danger close for Malekith, but he's holding strong. And, of course, he does have those Soul Stealers. These little lizards need to get firing a little bit more. Big Feral Carnosaur coming in as well. Massive pile-in. Also, Shield Up, the old one's being popped down, and the Dark Elves are taking this opportunity to rush forward to try and rescue their Lord. As we can see, the front line is about to get underway, and these poor little skinks aren't going to stand much of a chance up against these Bleak Swords. Now, over in the main mosh pit, the Umbral Tide are going to be key here, really trying to help those Cold One Spear Riders and Feral Carnos out, and they're doing a decent job so far, but they are fairly heavily outnumbered. Even the big fat Slan himself, who has dropped the Time Warp, making these guys incredibly more powerful. Let's see if that has reached the Feral Carnos. Well, it has indeed. He's going to be a monster right now, but it looks like Cold One Knights have just too many Dark Elves in there for them. But we do have Cold One Spear Riders coming in as well as a Blood Statue of Spite. So very back and forth games so far. If we have a quick look at the rest of the battlefield, we have some Cold One Knights just shredding up this back line, running around with immunity, and it looks like some Dread Spears have flanked around, and the front line engagement is going very strongly in favour of the Dark Elves. It looks like they managed to get some Bleak Swords as well on the Umbral Tide here in the back. So an initial very nice engagement there for the Lizardmen. Did a decent amount of job, managed to tear down these Cold One Riders, do a ton of damage to Malekith. Also beat up the Knights of Ebon Claw heavily here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough right now. Malekith looks like he is going to be able to escape, and where is the Umbral Tide? Fleeing for their lives, and the Salamanders as well are just being chased off. There's not enough in the back there to protect them after these Cold One Spear Riders did commit to the fight. Feral Consort doing a decent job though, tearing up the Knights of Ebon Claw, but now we have the 2 units of Dark Riders with those repeater crossbows, completely immune, just firing and shutting down that Carnosaur slowly. We have the little skink chief who wished he could. Let's see, he's up to 2 kills, you know, he's killed 2 fellas here, running away, firing in his little blow dart there, killing another guy as he runs. Looks like he's falling back, trying to protect these Cold One Spear Riders. And the front line, it's holding fairly strong. It looks like he did manage to win 1 engagement. For the most part, though, it was won here by the Dark Elves. Another nice net play, netting down Malekith. And now the Salamander Hunter Pack are getting some very nice shots up there. If only the Umbral Tide was also able to contribute there. Feral Carnosaur still fairly healthy, all things considering. Maybe a big double net down on these Dark Riders would be key at some point, as they're still going to do so much damage. Then in the back we do have Saurus Warriors who are going to get a nice rear charge on these Bleak Swords and maybe help the Skinks win that fight. And overall, the Blackguard, very healthy still, and there's a lot of Dark Elves all around the map still. However, we do have some Skink cohorts with Javelins over here, and the little Skink Chief is unfortunately finding himself in a duel up against Malekith, which, you know, maybe he could do a bit of damage, but it looks like for the most part he's just going to get flung around. There's still this big this very big contingent here, which is very powerful, rocking for the Lizardmen. Carnosaur in a fight against Dread Spears, not particularly where it wants to be, but with some Cold One Spear Rider support, they should be able to break those guys off quickly and hopefully keep the Salamander hunting packs in action, as they're going to be very key for taking down Malekith and the remainder of these Cold One Knights. Saurus doing a decent job in the front line overall, though. It is mainly won by the Dark Elves, and as you can see, they're flooding through this right-hand flank. The left-hand flank and centre not going too badly here, and there's a lot of ammo left on these Salamander hunting packs. They need to turn their fire now, though, onto these Cold One Knights, who are rampaging very dangerously in their direction. We have 1 unit of Skink cohorts being used very wisely here just to scare off these Dark Riders and force them away from this Carnosaur, who is going to be vital at this end game here. Skink Chief somehow managed to survive and sneak away from Malekith. It looks like these Dread Spears were, you know, as kind of predicted, broken. Unfortunately, the Umbral Tide are rampaging now, so they're going to charge headlong in to the Blackguard of Naggarond. A fight they definitely do not want to be in, but at least they will do a little bit of damage. It looks like the Lizardmen are trying to rally their forces round the Slan, rally to the King, and make a bit of a last stand. But things aren't going too bad for them. Power balance is, in fact, in their favour now. So Noob for Life may be pulling out a unexpected victory here. The Blackguard of Naggarond are slowly being dragged down, but they're going to be able to tear through these Saurus Warriors and Skink cohort without too much problem. And unfortunately, there was a banishment cast, but well spotted by Chosen One, does pull his Bleak Swords out, and they survive quite comfortably. So Salamanders shooting those shots into Malekith, doing a decent job. As we can see, Cold One Spear Riders, Saurus Warriors have been brought back to try and protect the Slan and these Salamanders, who do not want to get too isolated here. If they get dragged out of position, these Cold War Knights will simply turn around and finish them off. They do not want to take fire from 2 units of Dark Riders, so very wisely pulling them back here. This battle is on a knife edge, a fantastic battle to start off the stream, actually. And Saurus Warriors, they will eventually go down to this Blackguard, but they're doing a decent job overall, and there's a lot of infantry. And as we can see, the little blue here, the blue force of the Lizardmen, are getting fairly heavily surrounded. They do have some rallying forces off the side, but I doubt they will get back into the action before breaking. So it looks like he's just going to collapse down on these Saurus Warriors and try and destroy them as quickly as possible. And the Lizardmen are going to be trying to react here. Umbral Tide pushing forward, probably trying to get some shots off on Malekith. They have been escorted by the Cold War Riders, but they're getting a bit danger close to these Dark Riders, who are firing in some shots, and it's not where these Salamanders want to be. But looks like some fireballs are making pretty decent connection there, even though he was moving. Let's see, Malekith is now down to 2,000 health, which is no mean feat, but with a Feral Carnosaur kicking around, you never know. Bleak Swords being absolutely hammered there by the Cold War Riders. Those Bleak Swords were there just to protect these Dark Riders who are having to fall back. And one thing that could be a big problem is the Blackguard of Nagaron. They can do very good against these Cold War Riders and Carnosaur, which is the main punching power of this Lizardman force. Skink Chief, you know, he's been a pain. He's been running around, doing his little blow dart, living his best life as he does. So overall, you know, he hasn't paid for himself, but I don't know if that little fella ever does. Carnosaur charging in, trying to break these Dreadspears and break the Blackguard, which is a bit risky. But he does have the shield of the old ones popped down. And Malekith, if he has a Soul Sealer here though, that will be very, very tasty indeed. Or of Quetzal dropped as well, giving extra protection to the Feral Carnosaur. Big breath attack coming in, but it looks like for the most part it actually hit the Blackguard, which is super unlucky for Chosen here. He does come in, commits with Malekith as you would expect, rampage these Cold One Spear Riders off. Bleak Swords are getting on top of the Salamanders, and the noose has been set. This is the final showdown right here. Salamanders trying to flee, but they have nowhere to go. Blood Statue of the Spite has been dropped on these Bleak Swords, which is a fairly good pick here. Dark Riders are charging, trying to break these forces, and he's doing a decent job overall so far. Where is the Big Daddy Carnosaur? Where are you? Am I just being blind? No, yes, there he is. He's hiding behind Malekith, and he is beating the crap out of him. He's taking a ton of damage himself. Malekith needs a Soul Sealer to pop down right now. I don't know what spell this is coming down. It looks like it is, in fact, a Time Warp, increasing the Lizardman's power. I think this could be game. Let's see, there's some Dark Elf forces rallying. He's still got some Dark Riders crossbow bolts firing in, but he is charging in, just trying to break these people as much as possible. Shots coming in. Looks like the Feral Carnosaur does rout though, and Malekith does survive. If he has a Soul Stealer, this could be clutch. He's down to 700 health now, really getting beat up, but he is managing to single out the Slann now. He's managed to drag the Slann and the Carnosaur away from his bodyguard here. Well, there's not much of them left, I'm afraid. And that could be a mighty return here by Chosen. This is an incredibly close game. Malekith fleeing for his life at 700 health, falling back. Salamanders firing shots up, but they're not the best in combat. They are surrounded now by Bleak Swords, and Malekith has charged into them, completely routing them. And with that, I can't see anyone but the Dark Elves winning here. Skink Chief doing a decent job up against these Cold War Knights. Possibly should be able to win that. They are pretty beat up there. And that Skink Chief is the last thing to hold him in place. I'm not sure why the power balance is still in the Lizardman's favour. I suppose they have a few units which have rallied, but they're so beaten up. Don't think they're going to be able to do too much. Malekith, 500 health. Such a close game. Is going to escort this Slann Mage Priest off the battlefield. However, if these Salamanders do rally, 1 or 2 volleys could easily bring down or break Malekith now. So if they rally now as he's attacking the Slann, they could turn around and do some very decent work here. The Skink Chief almost have ammo, up to 44 kills, but doing some decent work against this Cold One Riders. Is running over to get a few shots in at Malekith, which could be very key. And over here, it looks like most of the Dark Elf forces, including the Blackguard, have in fact been shattered off or broken. So this is incredibly close right now. It keeps going either way. It looks like it could be Malekith against the world, and this Skink Chief could be the one to bring this back. He's got Malekith wavering with those little dart shots coming in. He needs to keep focusing him down, as Malekith is the last Dark Elf standing. This has been so back and forth here, and the Slann has rallied. Malekith desperately trying to get these Cold One Knights back, down to 400 health. This is going to be close. 400 health is no small feat. So he's going to be floating around now, just breaking off units and shattering them where he can, trying to get that power balance back to the middle as much as possible. But the Lizardmen just going to regroup and then slowly march on the Dark Elves. We do have some returning Dark Riders here, but they're wavering. They may get a few shots off, maybe 1 or 2 volleys. Malekith has managed to rally some Cold One Knights. Let's see if they have any questions. Noob for Life can't run. Yeah, that's fine. He's still attacking with the Dark Riders over here. So it looks like the Cold One Knights have broken. Dark Riders coming in, still firing some shots, but they're going to be out of ammo soon, and then he's going to have to commit to an engagement, and I don't think he's going to have enough in him. Skink Chief still has 9 shots. Those 9 shots could be enough to break off Malekith here. He's just trying to drag and pick apart these Saurus Warriors, fighting to the death, which I always love to see. Gee, little miss there. I mean, it must be pretty hard to, fire a blow dart up against a Blade Dragon, but it's quite a big target at the same time. Up to 90 kills, Malekith is probably going to come down for the big strike on the Chief, being the last Dark outstanding. Sends him flying, but in retaliation, a Shield of the Old Ones is popped, and that is going to be huge. And Malekith does break. What a game. Noob for Life doing an incredible upset there, I suppose. What's up, Croissant? Nice to see you, my dude. Hope you're doing all good. Croissant was going to compete today, but unfortunately isn't feeling very well, so give him all your love in chat. Always good to see him around. So, the next map is going to be... boop, Tower of Hoeth. Right there, nice and easy. Noob for Life is going to change his name now. He did say before, actually, in just Discord chat, that if he gets the game off Chosen, he's going to be very happy. So cool. Looks like the other 2 are online as well for the game afterwards. Assuming everything is all good. I'll let these guys choose their next matchup. So if you have any questions, now is the perfect time to ask them. Hey, David the White Lizard, what's up, my dude? Hope you're doing all good, man. Round 2 will be coming up shortly. So if you guys are enjoying the show these brave competitors are putting on now, please do consider hitting that thumbs up button. It is, really big for the channel, actually being quite a small channel. We are growing. We're actually up over 100 subscribers now, which I completely forgot to mention. This stream was actually meant to be celebrating that fact. I believe we're up to like 104 now. So if you are enjoying, please do subscribe, leave a like, and all that good fun stuff, and feel free to be in the chat. But very good game overall. So I'll let these guys choose their next matchup. Make sure there's no questions on Steam or Discord. No, looks like we are all good. So round 2 will be between Rockin' Itza on my pizza and Uzumaki, whose name I'm really hopeful I'm saying, because he's been a really nice lad and hopped in super late here. Chosen is going Lizardmen, yes! I like to see the Lizardmen as much as possible, of course, be my favourite faction. And now with the changes to the Dread Saurian and Razordon, don't think it's going to make too much damage. I believe the Dread Saurian's got about 100 point cost reduction, which isn't much. Plus, I think 3,000 mass or something pretty big. And a slight change to their attack animation, so it'd be interesting to see if they're any more competitive. And Razordon's, fingers crossed, they did get a slight buff, so let's pray. I think they've in fact got a range increase as well. So it looks like it may be High Elves versus Lizardmen here, which could be a pretty interesting matchup. Sisters of Avalon, very, very effective in here if you can protect them, but they're also very susceptible to Wind Blast. So there's a lot of give and take in this matchup, a lot of kind of mind games trying to figure out what your opponent is going to bring. That battle was super close, yeah, Dave the White Lizard. That was ridiculous. Multiple times I thought Chosen had it, to be honest. With Malekith at the end there coming in, I think if he had a few more winds of magic, probably would have managed to carry it. Yeah, Croissant, I hope you feel better soon, dude. Because I'm great to have you back on the channel sometime soon, man. Either come at me, bro, just some replays, or back in the tournament scene, which would be good. And I believe next tournament as well, we may have Ben the Barman doing a return. being one of the OGs. He's the original champion of Death before Dishonour, which is pretty damn badass. Looks like Chosen is ready, just waiting for Noob for Life. I haven't tried the Raised Ons yet. I have tried them since they came out, and I actually have one of my most popular videos on my channel at the moment is me using some Raised Ons. I think people quite like them, but they just don't know how to use them. And I used them in a battle, and they did okay, kind of in a skirmish role against Dark Elves, but I haven't tried them out since the patch. The patch only came out today. So it should be quite interesting. Hello to everyone who's just been joining. We are going into game 2. So let's actually, while I think about it, change the scoreboard. So Noob for Life, this is his first ever tournament, has taken a game off Chosen One, who of course is a very experienced tournament player. So a bit of an underdog story here. And then we do have a round 2 after this, the second semi-finals, and then we'll be going into a finals. And all the games are best of 3. Looks like Chosen is ready, just went on Noob for Life. There is no pressure or no rush, no time limits or any of that kind of rubbish when picking our builds. Tournament is just super chilled. Okay, looks like we've got 10 people watching. What's up, guys? Please do leave a like if you are enjoying the content. I also have a Patreon just down below if you want to support the channel in any other way, which will be pretty cool. At the moment, we just do Total War content on this channel, but we will be, I believe, next month expanding out a little bit. I may be doing a few TV show reviews and so forth, as I've got a big love for cinema and TV, and also doing some other gameplay as well. But we're always obviously going to have Total War content as well, so that's kind of what's made my channel so far. And the reason I made one. That's very cool. Very cool indeed. So, yeah. So I'm making it. Make sure there's no questions. Yeah, we're all good. Ooh, get back to Total War. So, do you guys think Noob for Life can do it? Do you reckon he can pull it out for those Torment Virgins there and take down Chosen One? Looks like Noob for Life is ready, just waiting on Chosen. He was ticked before. I don't want to press tick until he's all good. If Chosen's brought Raised Ons, he's going to instantly get a bonus point for just being awesome. Because they look so cool. I mean, thematically, they're like little spiky doggos. And I think on tabletop, I never used them too much. But when something charged you, you got to roll an artillery dice, which could go up to 10 for each Raised On you had in a unit, and it just decimated people on the charge. It was so good. But unfortunately, they don't have any of that type of mechanic in the game. I don't really know how you'd implement that. Maybe it could work in the same way as the Rattling Gunners, that the closer they get, the more damage they do, perhaps. But then maybe that takes away from the Rattling Gunners. So we'll see. We'll see. David the White Lizard, what DLC do you think will come on Festag Update? I have no idea. I think it's going to be a small one. I don't think it's going to be 2 big factions. Soon, I feel Grom the Paunch, I think his name, is going to come in up against the High Elves in the next DLC. I don't have any inside knowledge at all, but that's just a fear I have. I really want to see the Sisters of Twilight, I believe they're called, for the Wood Elves, so I think they really need an extra Legendary Lord. And I feel Beastmen and Wood Elves definitely need some love from the first game, but the DLCs at the moment, I think, are mainly going to be crossover. So a faction from Total Warhammer 1 mixed with a faction from Total Warhammer 2, much like the Empire and Lizardmen was. But anyway, let's get into the battle. So Noob for Life has gone for 2 Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. Very good pick in this matchup. Good at taking down big dinos and Temple Guard. For his Lord right here, we do have Teclis, who, let's have a little look, has brought quite a few spells. Again, he seems to like his nets, and he's made great use of them last time. So Net of Amantalk, he has Enfeebling Foe, Regrowth, of course, which is very good. He has also bought his Potion and Bound Fiery Convocation. He has gone for 2 Nobles, the old school classic on horses there. 2 anti-large armor piercing, pretty big monsters actually. They're very good in this matchup. For a front line, he has gone for White Lions of Chase, who do very decent up against Saurus Warriors. 2 units of Sister Avalon, who if left unimpeded will wreck tons of Lizardmen, infantry, and big dinosaurs, but they gotta be scared of Wind Blasts. He's also gone for some Illyrian Reavers, nice shot cav. Probably just going to be using those to protect his back line. They won't do too much damage, however. And also in his front line, he has gone for 3 units of Spearmen with 1 Chevron each, just to hold the line a little bit. So I like that pick a lot. It's going to be very defensive, but very nice pick. Now over here for Chosen One, representing ODM and the Lizardmen right now, he does have some skink cohorts with javelins. Looks like that may be all across the front line, which is a pretty decent pick. In the back, he has the cohort of Sotek, Red Crested Skink Regiment Renowned, who have a really cool ability where they refuse to die. He also has some Saurus Warriors mixed into his second line. A little hard to see everything in the forest here. He has a unit of Horned Ones, which I love to see. These guys are awesome. I quite like bringing them. Don't think they're the most competitive as they're very expensive, but since the Rampage mechanic has been changed a long time ago, they are much more competitive now. So it looks like he has 2 units of those. They will tear apart those Illyrian Reavers in a matter of seconds. He also has a Saurus Old Blood up on a Carnosaur here, and he has brought with him the Horn of Tigor, which would be amazing if he charged in with those Horned One Riders. Let's have a little look at what else he has. Stand your ground, of course, Amulet of Itzel, nice 66% damage resistance, Close Seek and all that good stuff. He also has a Basildon with the Rev Crystal, which is pretty good in this matchup. It's very good when you have a Carnosaur or units like Horned Ones for that healing, and a Skink Priest with, of course, Wind Blast and Harmonic Convergence. So I like both armies here. Of course, Chosen is going to stick to the forest and try and get up behind this high elf army as much as possible. Wants to take as minimum damage from those Eagle Claw bolt throws as possible. And there's one very sneaky unit. Who's this? We do, in fact, have the Hopak cohort, Regiment Round Code 1 Riders, who, of course, can Vanguard, look very cool with their red war paint here. I like these guys quite a lot as well. Sneaking behind, so very heavy Cav Corps. Looks like they are good to go. And the Cav could run over this high elf faction if they're not careful. They have 3 units of spears, but no Phoenix Guard, no heavy Cav to counter, but the Eagle Claw bolt throws, of course, can do a ton of damage if they're successful. And he's just going to be repositioning now, trying to fall back, and probably going to be falling back more to kind of this area away from the forest, knowing that the Lizardmen are going to swoop around. Illyrian Reavers are falling back as well, and they have been revealed. So have they spotted each other? I believe they have. I mean, the Hopak cohort will tear apart the Illyrian Reavers very quickly. So don't want to get too danger close here, but the Nobles are coming over as well, and the Nobles actually could be really key here. Their anti-large damage is going to do very good against all of this cavalry. They are charging forward, however, looking to spy out their opponents to allow these Eagle Claw bolt throws a better range. And they are moving forward now, getting ready to go into their attack position, as of course both players do have to be attacking, you know, within reason at all points. So up in this forest, these Illyrian Reavers, I don't know if they've spotted the cohort down here. If they haven't, they're looking very isolated here and could be some very nice easy pickings. As you can see, the bolt thrower is flinging in some shots now into the skink cohorts. Wide array of shots going in there, and they all miss. That's your classic high elf aim there. Few misses coming in now, but they are on the spread, which is a little less accurate, I believe, but of course hits a larger group. Some more shots coming in now. Peppering down a little bit. Looks like a few of those shots. Yeah, there we go. There's some decent contact now. Starting to do some damage. All these Horned Ones are moving up with the rest of the Lizardman army. And this Skink Priest has some juicy targets. If he can pop off those Wind Blasts just down here and time it right, and if Noob for Life doesn't notice, that is going to be insane value. So it looks like the Hopak cohort has moved up and scared off those Illyrian Reavers who have pulled back. But we're looking for that full surround by the looks of it, as the Lizardmen are going to come crashing in. The White Lion's going to do very good against this front line for the most part. There's only 2 units of Saurus, I believe, unless there's one in here. And the Skink cohort are being slaughtered at the moment by the Sisters of Avalon. But do we have a Wind Blast? I'm trying to keep Nuv here because the Skink Priest is being absolutely blitzed now by the Sisters of Avalon. He needs to get out of there. Does he drop a spell of some type? He has been netted, and it doesn't look like he's managed to get off a Wind Blast here, so very good play for Noob for Life here. Frontline is about to engage here. Saurus Warriors crashing into Spearmen. They should do a decent and easy job there. And the Bastildon with the Rev Crystal has been pinned out by the 2 Nobles, which is incredibly dangerous. And you can see his health just absolutely getting slaughtered here. The Hopak cohort is looping around the side, probably going to try and hop on top of these Eagle Claw bolt throwers. And the Horned Ones need to get engaged here, as this is starting to go in quite heavily in the High Elves' favour super quickly here. Bastildon already going down, but the Skink Priest did manage to escape. It looks like he's getting a little bit closer as well. And here comes the first Wind Blast. Overcast. Huge damage coming down on those Sisters of Avalon, down to below half health, including these White Lions. that has got him back in the game with some fantastic value here. Saurus Oldblood needs to be super careful of these nobles, and all these horned ones need to fall back instantly. But a nice alpha strike there, routing off these white lines and doing a ton of damage to Sisters of Avalon. Left flank, however, Illyrian Reavers getting some nice shock damage on the cohort of Sotek, helping break that left flank down quite quickly. And we do have the Regiment Renowned Cold One Spear Riders hunting down Illyrian Reavers, and this Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower is looking very juicy right now. We've also got some skink cohorts on top of this Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, dragging it down, and it looks like the Horned ones are committing to this engagement with Teclis and the Noble. The Saurus Oldblood popping the Horn of Kaigor and the Amulet of Quetzal, making himself pretty much immune to all attacks, and he is tearing down Teclis, who has popped his potion, however, giving him a big damage resistance plus a mass healing. But now they have this Noble surrounded, and picking him off one at a time may be quite key, as we have some more Horned ones doing the exact same to the other Noble, and this could be a great turnaround here for Chosen, who looked like at the very start was going to struggle. But, oh, Cold Blood popping down. I thought his Rev Crystal may have come back there. But he's managed to swarm here, managed to tear down these Eagle Claw Bolt Throws, and now this backline is very, very open. And we've Horned ones who have been the absolute MVP so far, managing to drag down these Nobles, charging into the backline. And this, I believe, is game over. Another fantastic Wind Blast coming in, tearing apart those Sisters. And it looks like for that most part, Health Army is in complete disarray after a very, very positive start here. Finn's backfired very quickly when his backline got completely surrounded and cut off. Nobles running for the hill wherever we see them. And the fact the Skink Priest managed to survive, he nearly went down, he got netted, he could have been shot to pieces. Instead, they decided to shoot the Bastiladon. I personally would have finished off the Skink Priest first. I think it brings a bit more value. But a nice big Phoenix coming down here, but it was spotted by Chosen. And unfortunately, that does instead eviscerate some Spearmen. And that is 1-1. This is what we like to see. First round is in fact going to game 3. So GG to both players right there. And the final map is going to be Pillar of Bone. There we go. So GG's to competitors there. Very good game. These two had some fantastic games. It started really well, just slowly started to move down. Yes, Norsca also needs some Legendary Lords. David the White Lizard. I 100% agree. I think they need more. But I don't know if they need a full-on DLC. They're fairly fleshed out apart from that. Cool, so it looks like Chosen is going Skaven, and New for Life is going to be decided. So let's change the scoreboard while we can. Chosen up to 1. Boop. Cool, and we are back. So yes, round 2 will begin after here with Rockin' Itza on my pizza up against Uzumaki. It's going to be very good, and I believe Noob for Life and Uzumaki played a couple of games just beforehand, and some very close games. So as we've seen, Noob for Life is no slouch. I believe I played Noob for Life once, months ago, near the start of my channel. I believe somewhere in the depths of my YouTube channel there is a game against me and Noob for Life up there somewhere, because I believe commentating that he was not a noob and that he should change his name. And I think after this, he's going to have to change his name to Pro for Life, managed to get a point off Chosen One, who is an incredibly good competitor. Pillar of Bone, pretty damn big map, I believe, and pretty open. At least now Marcus is no PS5. Yeah, Marcus, I must admit, I've been using Marcus a ton. He was crazy OP. I hope he's still decent. I hope he's not been nerfed into the ground. I feel a lot of games, not Total War in particular, I think for the most part they're fairly good at balancing the game. Some games when one thing's OP, they'll just nerf it into the ground and it becomes pointless, and we don't want to see that. I still want Marcus, to be a good competitor. That really was fantastic play with the Cav. That was some elite play there by Chosen, really helping to destroy that high elf backline and just tear it apart. When the Nobles instantly took down that Bastiladon and the Sisters of Avalon had pinned in the Skink Priest, I thought they were going to destroy him. Those two big, expensive units instantly dead. I thought it could be game over really early on, but Bastiladon did die. Priest managed to survive, getting some really good wind blasts, and those horned ones just tore apart that high elf army. It's a very good play overall. Hey, looks like we've got a few more people watching. Welcome, welcome. We are still in game 1, so the first semi-final of 2, and it is 1-1. And we're going into the final game of round 1, and then will be a second round and a final, so do stick around. It's been pretty good so far. So if you're enjoying what you see, please do leave a like and all that good YouTube-y stuff that every YouTuber says. It actually does really help out and try and push my videos to as many people as possible. And we're growing quite nice at the moment, up to over 100 subscribers. So thank you all very much who have subscribed. It's kind of crazy, actually. I thought, to be honest, when I started up the channel, it was just going to be a bit of fun. And I'll just have a few family and friends watching. But I've got people who are consistently coming back from, even when I first started, a few people. There's a guy called Briggsy who always checks out every single Winner video, who's been around since I think day 2 or something, like my second video. It's really cool, actually, just to chill out with you guys. And I like hosting tournaments. I think it's good for the community. I always try and get a few new players in as well. And we actually have 3 players today who I believe, 2 of them I believe it's their first tournament. One of them has played in like 1 tournament before. And also bring in some experienced players and have them face each other, because you will always get some surprising matchups that way. And it's always good, just to give people a little bit of a head start. As personally, I can't play tournaments on weekends because I work then, so I feel it's quite nice to have a few midweek tournaments as well for players who can't. David, what is it? I think we played quick battles with Doors vs. Hives. Were us 2 together or one of the competitors? We've definitely played together. I think. Looks like Chosen is ready here. Cool, just waiting on Noob for Life, no pressure. It is all chill. So there is a delay on the stream, so sorry if I'm slow at replying to comments. I have to look at my phone, so I don't do that, obviously, whilst commentating mid-game. And there is a slight delay on the stream, just naturally, because we're doing it in quite high quality, which actually works in our favour, because none of these guys would stream snipe, but because I've obviously spoken to them all beforehand, but even if someone wants to, it's not possible, which is all good. So, do you think Noob for Life can do it? Do you believe the underdog can take on the Chosen One here and take in a 2-1 series? Or do you think the Skaven are going to skitter and scheme their way to victory? I really don't know. Noob for Life played really good. He even played... That game was quite quick. And I think it could have broken either way very quickly. I still think he played fairly good. It's just that backline pressure was insane from Chosen One. The 2-horned ones and the Regiment Renowned Cold One Riders just tore apart those sisters and Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers very quickly. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Oh, well, I'm here for your lovely accent. Cheers, man. I think it was Aristodamos in the last stream was talking about my accent. I've never noticed. No one's ever said anything to me about my accent, but people seem to like it, which is good. It's very good. It's I'm from an area near Brighton, like south of England. I've moved up to London, but I guess that's where my accent's from. I see you all. I see 10 people watching and only 5 thumbs up. So there's a little way my channel works. I forgot to mention this. Every time you give a thumbs up to my channel, a puppy is born, which is a pretty crazy and miraculous thing. So you get little Labradors, little Alsatians, little Huskies, and the world is a better place. But every time someone leaves a dislike or someone doesn't like, a puppy dies, and the world is a much sadder place. So save the puppies. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for the content. Do it for the puppies. Cool, looks like Noob for Life is ready. And it's Noob for Life's favourite map, apparently, so that could play into his favour. Cool, as soon as Chosen says he's ready, we'll get underway. I'm actually really excited for this. This is going to be some testing. Cool, looks like Chosen is going to bring some weird builds, which I love to see. We've seen some really wacky armies already, to be honest. We've seen Skink Chiefs on foot, which was pretty damn cool. Pohopak cohort, I haven't seen too much either. So yeah, just kind of cool stuff all around, to be honest. It's like the most British thing I've ever experienced, and I've been to Nottingham, Manchester, and some smaller places around the area. Cheers, man. That's really funny. I guess my accent is really British. Maybe that's just the southern voice in Britain is like really British. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it anyway. I'm glad you enjoy the accent. I will. I'll keep it. I won't try and change it. I do a bit of accent actually, and my weakest point about my accent is definitely changing my accent. But luckily, if my accent's all good, then you know, hopefully the audience will like it. So let's get this final battle of round 1 underway. So Noob for life. Looks like on either flank. Oh, I'll get to the Cav in a sec because he has a large Cav contingent. But here's some chevroned up bleak swords mixed in with some witch elves for a front line. So let's see. We have a ton of bleak swords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of bleak swords. We have witch elves and sisters of slaughter, 1 of each. We have some shades, which are pretty damn good utility unit overall. It's a nice armor piercing range. Dark riders with shields, 1, 2, 3 of them. So a lot of skirmish, kind of light skirmish cav. He seems to like them. He picked his Illyria Reavens before as well, which do a similar role for the high elves. 1 unit of Cold One Knights, 2 units of Cold One Knights, and Celestia's Harvesters. I was about to say, they did not look like Cold One Knights. A very heavy cav contingent here. Now, I'm assuming for his lord he's going to have... Oh no, he has brought a Supreme Sorceress of Shadows. I was expecting Marathi right there. So she has brought Arcane Conduit, the Pendulum, which is very good, and Enfeebling Foe. So that should be pretty damn cool. And I believe I saw a sneaky assassin somewhere. Where'd you go? There was definitely an assassin. There he is. And an assassin on the ground here. I'm assuming he has got their version of trophy heads. Yeah, assassin trophy on him. Web of Shadows as well, which is pretty good. So nice build overall. And have a look at the Skaven. I'm not so used to the Skaven. So some of those Slash Harvesters are in the back there. He has a front line of Skaven slaves here. Mixed in with Clan Rats. He's going for a very big onion build, which I really think is the way to play Skaven. So Clan Rats all over the place and Skaven slaves all mixed in together. We have Warplock Jezzails. We have Rattling Gunner team as well. Looks like not the Regiment Renowned versions, surprisingly. So one of each of those. We have a Hellpit Abomination on one flank, which looks just horrifying. Look at that disgusting beast. It regens, it does a ton of damage, it has a chance of spilling out Skaven from its belly and all sorts. We have a Doom Wheel, just a basic one. We have an Assassin on foot, so we could get some Assassin on Assassin action. I'm assuming he has their version of heads. Yes, Assassin's Trophy and Concealment Bomb, very cool. We have Lord Skrog, very squishy, but does a ton of damage, and I'm assuming he has brought the Liber Babonicus, does a ton of damage, and a Rod of Corruption. We also have 1, 2 units of Rat Ogres. So overall, very nice build. He's going to struggle to deal with the mass amount of cav, I feel. But if he can get the Rattling Gunners online shooting at them the whole time and the Rat Ogres panning them down, maybe he can play out. Interesting. We have Dark Riders in the back looking to shut down the range tools, but there is only 2, which I think is actually the way to go sometimes. 2 or 3. If you have too many, it's just impossible to protect. But 2 or 3, you can always protect them. All the Jezzails are going to do a decent job here, and Rattling Gunners will do huge damage if they can get their shots off. Chosen One is all ready, so they're good to start whenever they are. One last little look at chat. Fun fact, I found the Southern accent in the US quite enjoyable too, as long as I don't try to understand what they say. That's me with the Irish accent. I've been to Ireland before, had a full 20-minute conversation with someone, this old guy who was very, very old school Irish, like a 20-minute conversation, and I have no idea what he said. None. I could make out the odd word. Same thing happened to me when I went to Wales. I'm really poor at figuring out accents. Cool. Just looking from the army perspectives here, I think this Dark Elf army is got all the tools to deal with the Skaven. They've got mass bleak swords to slowly tear through all the chaff, tons of cav to give that backline harass. Are they going to be able to deal with the Hellpit Abomination? However, we only have 1 unit of Cold One Knights, so the Hellpit could be a bit of a game breaker here. Oh, was that 2? We have 2 units of Cold One Knights, of course. And we have some initial shots firing out, and they are going into the Sisters of Slaughter here. Looks like a few of them also may have gone after the Supreme Sorceress. Doomwall rolling forward, unimpeded at the moment. Little does he know what is waiting for him in those trees at the back. But he's just going to be rolling forward, and someone as good a micro as Chosen, he is going to be able to use that guy very effectively. We also have some Clan Rats being spawned, and the reason people do this, sometimes it looks a bit confusing to newer players. Why did you spawn a unit up here which is just going to charge at her and die? It's because it breaks up and holds back the charge on one flank and makes the charge very distorted as well, allowing for his range units to fire for a little bit longer. They're going to die anyway, they're just Clan Rats, they're there to die, so they fulfill their job either way. Rattling Gunfire coming in now, trying to tear down those Witch Elves. He's really trying to focus those guys down. We do have a nice Pendulum coming in on the Warplock Jezzails. They do manage to move just in time. still take a bit of a pounding, however. Some shots coming in on the Supreme Sorceress, it looks like scaring her away. And these Witch Elves are taking huge amounts of damage now. It looks like we do have a nice spell coming down as well. He's really trying to target down these Witch Elves at the moment. It looks like he feels they are his biggest threat. Dark Riders and Slash's Harvesters are moving up now in the back just to threat him. So are this other unit of Dark Riders, but as long as the Rat Ogres are here, they are going to struggle. Rat Ogres can beat those guys down comfortably. They don't need to chase them too far, just shield them off, ward them off. Don't allow them into that back line. This front line is holding incredibly well, actually. I'm quite surprised at how well it's holding. With the extra support of these Rattling Gunners and Warplock Giselles, they've done huge amounts of damage, and they've just shattered this front line. Doing well, getting in there, doing a ton of damage, causing, I believe it causes terror. No, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it only causes fear. No, it causes terror. Doing a ton of work there. So it looks like the Cold War Knights have been brought up from reserve now. They need to get in there and really help break through this back line. So at the moment, the Rat Ogres are both fully held, just beating down whatever they want that does break through. Another unit of Clan Ouch summoned just to pin in these Cold War Knights and keep them tied up. Very, very nice play there. Rattling Gunners now getting some huge damage into these Cold War Knights, tearing them apart. And it looks like the Supreme Sorceress is taking an absolute hammering from all those Warplock Giselles. And it looks like the Rattling Gunners are also trying to finish her off. I'm sure Lord Skroak has been popping some magic on her as well. Noob for Life desperately trying to break into this back line, but he can't puncture through this front line. Doomwell is running for the hills now. It looks like the Shades have done a decent job there, and this may be his time. It looks like he does have a bit of a gap now to push through. Rat Ogres are going to be forced into the front line, which could allow some of these skirmishers to sneak in the back. So Rat Ogres beating down Blink Swords, which is all good. It has allowed one unit of Dark Riders to whip around. They can now charge it in the back here. Hop on top of these Rattling Gunners on these Warplock Giselles, or maybe finish off that Doomwell. Shots coming in. Looks like scaring off Cold War Knights, but not doing too much damage from that range. But it looks like we do have an Assassin's Trophy head has been popped by the Assassin, the escaping Assassin, onto the K-Knight Assassin, and he's now going to be beating the crap out of him fairly comfortably. Slash's Harvesters have got in the back now, doing a decent work, but they do have Rival Hide Talisman popped on them, so they're not going to be doing too much work. The Hellpit Abomination, very, very healthy. Oh, looks 3 kills though. But the backline has started being compromised as Warplock Giselles having to run for the hills, and it looks like the Rattling Gunner team has also been compromised by some Dark Riders. So some great play coming here from Noob for Life. He is fighting back hard here, and doing the best he can. So more Dark Riders are punching this backline, and now the backline is completely compromised. That is a lot of power taken offline for the Skaven. Rat Ogres are being beaten down here. It looks like a Rod of Corruption has gone down, however, and that has helped finish off these Slash's Harvesters who are running. K-Knight Assassin, fairly healthy though. Skroak, very healthy. Hellpit Abomination, very healthy. And it looks like the Rat Ogres have managed to stabilise this back line. The Warplock Giselles are back firing, but the Rattling Gunners, up to 70 kills, doing a lot of damage, are being ridden down and have been shattered now by some Dark Riders. These two seem very evenly matched with some fantastic games so far. It looks like that's going to continue. K-Knight Assassin has been forced off, unfortunately for him. And it looks like the Skaven are going to take this one now. Power Balance swooping fairly heavily in their favour now. Backline did get broken into just a little bit too little too late. Now we have Rat Ogres feasting on the flesh of some Shades, and they're just going to be beating and pounding them to death. And it looks like that is the concede there coming in for Noob for Life. What a game though. He really needs to change his name from Noob for Life. He was a very good player, very good competitor, and did some fantastic games. Those are some really fun games. So Chosen is going to be moving on to the final. Cool, so if you are currently on the stream, Uzumaki and Rocket Eats on my pizza, please do join the lobby. Is Death Before Dishonour, password 123. I believe Uzumaki is here on my friends list, so I'll send him an invite. And let's change the map. So we're going to Robert Maxon, and we do have Rockin' Itza on my pizza in the lobby, one of my favourite names. Cool, I've just been sent a message and he is on his way. Cool, so both competitors will be in a second. Let's take this opportunity to change the scoreboard. I've actually managed to remember so far. So chosen one, that one, 2-1. So let's try and guess the spelling here. It's going to be Uzumaki, I believe. We'll double check that when he gets in. Yep. And let's take off that. And let's just call him Pizza for now. Because I can't spell that whole thing in there. And they're both on Nord. So they've got a tough, to compete with how good that first round was. That was 3 very close games. I'm really impressed actually with those ones, and we'll see chosen in the final. Yeah, your island is weird. I had a Scottish English teacher in 11th grade just returned from exchange in Oregon. Was weird. I had horrible first week adopted into the accent. Accents are really hard, man. Scotland and Irish accents I really struggle with. Same with Welsh. Actually, honestly, any accent I struggle pretty heavily with. Yo, what's up, Tim? You're going to tell people about the left, right, left. And there's in fact 12 people watching and only 5 likes on my screen, but apparently 8 likes on yours. So guys, hope you do enjoy. And welcome if you've just joined. We're going into round 2 of our 4-player best of 3 series. We have Chosen, who had a very good matchup, has made it through to the final. And we're into the second round now, first game. Cool, those guys are sorting out how they want to pick and ban. I'm honestly fine with either way as long as both players are happy. If both players can't agree on a way of doing it, I will step in. I randomly select one of them, using Siri on my phone, to be the first one to pick and ban. And it's nice and simple. So Tim, if you are still in the chat, my dude, please explain the left, right, left to people. It is an incredible tactic, can be used in most games, but Tim is a very good competitive player. He actually plays under a different name, and I'm not allowed to say what it is, because he doesn't want people knowing who he is, basically. But he's a very, very good player overall. He has some pretty cool tactics. So, bro, please do explain your tactics. Unfortunately, I've just seen your comment, Poison Ducky. Chaos make me proud, Uzumaki. It looks like he switched to the Skaven. But I'm sure we'll get some Chaos in there at some point. Cool. Looks like they're just sorting it all out now. I believe I played Uzumaki before. And I feel like I must have played Rockin' It's on my pizza. I've heard the name. But one of my last videos was actually Uzumaki who sent in a replay. And if you guys do want to see your replays on the channel, me commenting on them, do just get in contact with me on Discord or leave comments below YouTube and we'll discuss how to get onto Discord together. And I'm happy to cast games. Cool, so Uzumaki picks Skaven and bans Empire and Vampire counts. Rockin' Itza on my pizza is going through a selection. Oh, of course he's going to go Itza, of course. I don't know why I assumed he would go anything else. Oh no, he's switching to Wood Elves now. Might be just deciding here. Surely he at some point has to bring Gorok and go Itza. It's the only way. Looks like he's just trying to make his mind up now. Ah, Tim, you never reveal your secrets. It's a shame. I wonder if anyone can guess who Tim is. You may have seen him play on the channel before, may not have, may have seen him in tournaments before. If you can guess what his secret name is, I won't tell you for sure, but I know he doesn't want people knowing, so. Cool, it looks like we have Greenskins versus Skaven. This is a matchup I quite like if I am the Greenskins. You have so many options for just surrounding and overwhelming the Skaven. However, if you are Skaven, you can do some pretty tricksy builds. I wouldn't recommend going with the Warplock Giselles and Rattling Gunners that we just saw. Not that type of build. Instead, big Hell Pit Abominations with Storm Vermin like sitting on top of them, like more of like a Death Blob type build, can work quite well against Greenskins, all that nice nasty terror. Doomwheels also can do pretty good, but they can get pinned in. And the map for this first round of this heat is River and Maxon, which is a really cool map. Nice to see some Lizardman maps, which are kind of, you can use in a competitive situation. As for quite a while, I feel like the Lizardman maps were quite terrible as far as balance goes. They look fantastic, but balance-wise, pretty weak. So who's your money on out of these two? I don't know if any of you have played any of these guys. What's a wingman? Precisely. See, yeah, don't reveal your secrets, man. Don't do it. But I hope you're enjoying the stream nonetheless. So our next goal, I guess, is 200 subscribers. We've got to the 100, mainly thanks down to these big streams and all the videos. So massive thank you to all you guys for doing that. And we're just going to keep trying to go up, basically. There's no limit, I don't think, this is how we can go. And yeah, it should be good fun. So, my money, just based off the two factions, is on the green skins. But these guys really can pull out anything here, so who knows? Who knows? Unfortunately, I've been able to actually play too much Total War recently, mainly just been casting games. I'm hoping to get back into it and hopefully do a few tournaments. I'm hoping to switch my days at work, so I no longer have to work weekends, and that's when most of the tournaments take place. Arista Deimos has a very fantastic tournament, which I highly recommend to people. So does HW Sun. There's a ton of people with really awesome tournaments out there, so there's so many good options for new players and old players. Oh, can you see my army? Hope it's fine with all rules. Let's just add on. Boom. Just going to add that bad boy on for a sec. Please someone scream at me in chat if I forget to take it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe... Oh. Do they count as the same? Hang on a sec. Just need to double check the rules on one of these armies. Let's go to the Warhammer rules. Just making sure his army is all good. Green skins, limit to 4. I think it's fine. Because 4 of each. Yes, cool. Cool, they're both ready. Let's get this cracking. And while I remember, quickly, remove the giant, beautiful picture of my face. So that is, in fact, actually a picture of my face. Many people don't know this. But I am a duck. A rubber duck, in fact. Let's get this underway. A nice big stretch. I have recently, I think I may have had this for the last stream, invested into a gaming chair, and it is the best investment I've done. I was sitting before on like a little wooden stool, so at the end of like a long kind of, these tournaments tend to go between 2 to 2.5 hours. It was incredibly painful, but now I can just sit here and chill, and it's super nice. So this map, one of my favourites, because it has so many different possibilities. There's hills, there's open land, there's a lot of trees, especially these two blobs on the left that can be used for flanking. It's a nice raised platform that you often see a lot of cav try and whip around, or a lot of armies try and use it to protect their flank. So let's have a little look at Rockin' Itz's army first. So for the front line, he has gone for Night Goblin Fanatics. The best type of a Night Goblin is definitely the Fanatic type. On the flanks here, or getting them ready, looks like he's moved everything back. Let's go to these guys first. 3 units of Goblin Wolf Rider Chariots, including the Teeth Robbers, which is pretty good. 4 units of Squig Herds on the right-hand flank here. And in the middle, he does have 3 units of the Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. I just had to double check you couldn't bring too many of them, but it looks like they count as 2 separate entities. He does also have 2 units of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and a couple of units of Savage Orc Arrow Boys, who are pretty decent in melee. So if you manage to hunt them down and catch on to them, they they can still fight and do a decent amount of damage. They're not going to beat specific combat troops, but at least they'll hold on for a while. And lurking around here somewhere, keeps on dying away, is a goblin big boss by the looks of him, on top of a spider. Very quick little fella, this guy, and he will do some decent damage. We also have Wurzag here, which is the most competitive pick in my opinion. Him and Azag, but overall I would go for Wurzag. He in fact has Effigy of the Git. He has War, Get Back Ear, Edbutt, Fist of Gork, and Brainbuster, and Gaze of Morg. So he has a ton of spells with him here. Let's have a little look at Uzumaki's army. So for the Skaven today, we have a front line of clan rats with shields, also a load of Skaven spearmen. He's gone slightly different though than the army we saw previously, because he's gone a bit more elite. So he does have some storm vermin with sword and shields. He's gone for plague monk censer bearers, who would do very good in this matchup. Some more storm vermin, the council guard, the elite of the elite for Skaven, regiment renowned storm vermin, who are unbreakable, which is so vital for an army like Skaven who really struggle with leadership. Plus, they look very cool. We have Itic Claw up on top of his Doom Wheel here. He is going to be a terror in the night to deal with. He has brought Unlimited Power, Brass Orb, Death Frenzy, and of course, Warp Lightning. Cause of Terror, he's just going to roll around pretty unimpeded, but he will get blocked in by that Cav, so it's to be a little bit careful. In the back, 2 Rat Ogres, and also the Wheels of Doom, the regiment round Doom Wheel. So really relying quite heavily on those guys, and I think that is the army. Looks like we're going to get quite a heavy vanguard here from the Night Goblins. Should be pretty interesting. Trying to shut those Skaven down as quick as possible, but they have no range. So it's going to be interesting. I really don't know which this can go. I think the Squigs could swing this. Cool, just one last look at chat. Looks like we're all good to get going. So both armies are going to be marching forward here, looking ready to engage. The Greenskins fleeing backwards now, noticing that they're a little bit danger close here, and they need to fall back and get these Squig herds in, who are going to do incredibly good in this matchup, I feel. We do have some Forest Goblin Spider Riders trying to swoop around to the flank. They don't have too many good targets, however, but they can at least apply poison and maybe get some nice rear attacks. We do have Savage Orc Arrow Boys moving up, Wurzag and his little bodyguard also swooping up on this right flank. Looks like Itic Claw has already popped Unlimited Power, and he's just going to be rolling forward, and he will tear apart these Night Goblin fanatics incredibly quickly with his big Wheels of Doom. Looks like we do have a big shot coming in onto the Wheels of Doom, doing some decent damage. Looks like they all managed to connect. Wurzag should be very happy with that. And it looks like the Skaven Slaves are moving forwards, getting ready to engage. We do have a little bit of a pin coming on here with the Squig Herds trying to pin in Itic Claw, which isn't too bad of a matchup. We do have a lightning come down, hitting a little bit of a cheap blast, and he is going to be falling back. Brass Orb has also been popped in the middle of some Night Goblin fanatics, but since it's been nerfed a long time ago, it doesn't do too much damage. I feel like it needs a little bit more earth. Rat Ogres could be pretty key here in smashing apart the Squig Herds. And it looks like the Wheels of Doom went straight for Wurzag, which is an odd choice, and he's going to be falling back trying to get behind these Skaven slaves. So it's just a big munch up at the moment, as you kind of expect between these two factions. Squig's doing very good, especially with that War pop. Storm Vermin holding the line. Looks like a spell is about to be dropped down though. Probably is it Death Frenzy? Yes, Death Frenzy. Hopefully allowing those guys to carve through, and the Squig Herds are starting to rampage now, which is very good for the Skaven. A few of them are falling back. I think they need to keep the pressure up. Storm Vermin here, or Clan Rats with Shields coming in. They do a decent job against these Night Goblins, and the war's still going. And a big spell coming in here by the Greenskins, and that just eviscerates these Skaven Slaves, plus a rear attack coming in from the Teeth Robbers. This is going to break this line quite quickly, but the Greenskins are struggling in other areas. Rogers are going to charge in, and they need to shut down these Night Goblin Squig Hoppers who are running rampant at the moment. Up on the hill, we do have Clan Rats slowly draining down Night Goblin Squig Hoppers. It should be a fairly even matchup here. And very healthy Itic Claw rolling away. And we just got big blobs of Skaven all over the place, actually doing a very decent job. It looked like the initial shock damage of the Greenskins may have been enough, but their front line got eviscerated. I think the Storm Vermin really helped out here, going much more elite. And the Council Guard are strong, full health, getting in there, scaring away these Squig Herds. We do have a Warp Lightning coming down, doing some okay damage to Savage Orcs, nothing special, but it does get them moving at least. And the Wheels of Doom really doesn't need to be focusing down the Wurzag, in my opinion. Move him around, take down the infantry, hop on top of those Savage Orc boys, run down all the Greenskins you can, leave Wurzag, and let people like Rat Ogres, Council Guard, and so forth drag him down instead. So we do have a big retreat coming in from the Greenskins as the Skaven's hordes are just swarming forward, but he's not given up yet. We have Wolf Chariots rolling down the sides here, taking down Clan Rats. Looks like that's going to help break the side, allowing these Night Goblin fanatics to win this fight. Again, a nice amount of cycle charge coming in from the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. However, the Squig Herds, they've done a lot of damage, but they're pretty squishy themselves, and they are slowly getting dragged down here by Doom Wheels, Council Guard, and all that nasty stuff. And they're rampaging, losing control, and more elite troops are starting to drag them down. Which isn't something you often hear from Skaven, having more elite troops. However, these Goblin Wolf Chariots are doing serious work, just rolling all around the place, picking apart this army where they can, and getting those freebies. Storm Vermin do manage to stop the try and brace, but they're looking the wrong way. They do get a nasty rear charge coming in there. And this could be a nice resurgence coming in from the Greenskins there. So all the squids are piling in on top of the Wheels of Doom here, but trying to save Wurzag, who did get caught here. Maybe I was in the wrong there, and the Wolf of Doom actually was perfect for chasing down Wurzag, as he is starting to flee for the hills now. And Greenskins, of course, really struggle with leadership. So do Skaven. 64 is very, very healthy. In the distance, we have Forest Goblin Spider Riders just trying to drag down units where they can. He's done a really good job so far, rocking Itza on my pizza, just trying to chase down troops and get freebies, but he's losing the main fight, which is the problem. His Goblin Big Boss is also fleeing now, along with Wurzag, and the terror of those Doom Wheels is going to be a massive problem for him. Rauger's coming in and just pounding out these Night Goblin Squig Herds, and there's nothing that's really going to be great at taking down these Raugers here, or the Doom Wheels, to be honest. Squig Herds can pin them in and do decent damage, but now they've kind of got free reign, it's going to be a struggle. So Itaclaw is simply going to escort Wurzag off the field here, and there's not much Greenskin player can do about it. I mean, maybe get the Teeth Snatchers back there and these Goblin Wolf Chariots, but I don't think they've got any way of actually stopping Itaclaw, and for the most part, it looks like the Skaven have such a strong centre. They're losing units all around the place though as well, so this is by no means over yet. Big Warp Lightning coming in. Doing some, did a little bit of damage there, I think, but nothing too impressive. Squig Herds trying to pull down Itaclaw, who's now very isolated, and Wurzag has managed to rally. If he can drop an effigy of Baguette on this guy and completely surround him with remaining forces, maybe there is a chance. It looks like he's constantly trying to push through, and every time he does, effigy does come down him, but the Squigs do run away, unfortunately. Though we do have another spell coming down here, by the looks of it. Check. Nice little gaze there. I think that's the Gaze of Mork, I want to say it's called. Coming in, doing some okay damage. But the Wheels of Doom coming in to its rescue, and the Greenskins are running out of places to hide. We have Raugers scaring off the Teeth Robbers here. And in the background, I mean, Goblin Big Boss has rallied, but we have units of Storm Vermin running away from Night Goblin Fanatics for some reason. And there's still Skaven units dotted all around that, if brought back, could do a decent job, but I'm sure his micro is pretty stressed right now, trying to keep this main blob going, hunting down Wurzag. And of course, they do fire off these random little shots, the Doom Wheels, which are random, but eventually enough shots are going to hit Wurzag and bring him down. And it looks like it's mainly just clear up duty at the moment, but well played to both players for fighting tooth and nail to the end here. Goblin Big Boss may have rallied, but he doesn't have enough punch at him to deal with a full unit. Well, 42 here. Storm Vermin, who are just slicing him down and have managed to rout him. It looks like over on this side as well, Storm Vermin will win this fight against the Night Goblins. We have the Teeth Robbers still coming in, doing a little bit of damage, trying to pick apart Rat Ogres where they can, but for the most part, Greenskins are fleeing in all directions, and once again, Wurzag has been caught, and he is getting prodded in the butt there as he tries to run away. He's terrified. I would not blame him. Let's see how many kills these guys had. I'm really interested to see how they did. 66 isn't too bad. Nothing that impressive though. I was hoping for a little bit more with those guys, but they may have been fighting some more of the elite troops. And this time I'm sure Itaclaw's not going to be making the same mistake of letting Wurzag come back. He's going to be chasing him down and forcing him off the field. Rogers have managed to catch the Goblin Wolf Chariots here now as well, and they'll be breaking those guys very quickly. Night Goblins coming in, Fanatics swinging their balls on chain, coming through, doing some decent, well, some okay damage. These Council Guard doing their little best before they go down. This is one of my favourite mechanics in the game. Not particularly useful, but just very cool. And it looks like army losses has set in, and that is going to be game 1 to Uzumaki. So GG's to both players there. Quite a long game there, fairly well drawn out. It could have gone either way. It looks like the Greenskins had enough punch about them initially. Once their wall went down, they were slowly beaten down, mainly by the Itaclaw and the Doomwheel. So, the next map is a tournament classic of El Angui. Cool, and let's change the scoreboard. Uzumaki is up 1-0. And we'll let them decide matchup. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Hey, Noob for Life. What's up, man? Nice to see you in chat. Very well played, man. You were really impressive, dude. You need to change your name 100% now. Taking a game off Chosen is no small feat. And yeah, 3 very close games actually for you guys. And these guys also coming in with a close game. So very good tournament so far. So, Pizza is going Empire. And it looks like he is banning Dwarfs and Bretonia. I feel Dwarfs are definitely heavy counter to Empire. It's winnable for both sides, but Dwarfs just have so many good tools against the Empire. Bretonia, not so much, but Uzumaki, a hero for Poison Ducky, going Chaos. I'm just going to double check the Discord to make sure I have no questions. Sweet. Looks like we're all good. So these guys decide their army. So we do have a Chaos game. I'm sure someone's going to be very happy about that. And yeah, this map's super good. It's being used in tournaments as long as I can remember. There's forest, there's a nice open ground as well. It's very balanced, which is... I like mixing up the map sometimes. I was a bit rushed today. Actually, a big shout out to both these players as well, because they both jumped in within like the last hour to play. As we've had a lot of kind of... people who unfortunately won't be able to make it, or people are ill, all that kind of unfortunate stuff, which happens all the time in tournaments. So it's been a bit of a rush trying to fix everything together. So we've actually used all these maps before. So I try and normally bring in a bit more variety, but they're all good tournament maps. I like making them fairly even. Having them themed is also nice. I quite like the Battle of Itza map, but I try and go as much as possible for even matchups. In this matchup, who does it favour? I don't know. The Empire have a ton of tools. They have a lot of armour-piercing weaponry. Demigryph Knights can destroy a lot of the big monsters. But Chaos, you can't really write them off. They have a ton of punching power. Hopefully, we're going to see Big Daddy Kolek, who's one of my favourite units. Which should be... Oh, good. Just need to double-check the stream there. I had a horrible thought that maybe I'd left the blocker up that time, but luckily I didn't. Which is all good. So if you guys do want to take part at any point in any of these tournaments, just message me on Discord. I normally offer it to people who've been in before, or people who've been particularly good in it before, are easy to work with, and I offer it up to the tournament Discords. But if you want to try and confirm a place, just drop me a message and we'll try and get you into the next one. I think we already have 2 people who are almost, if they can make it on the day, again, offered slots, because unfortunately they couldn't make it today, but they tried to get in. But yeah, just get in contact with me. Always happy to play games against people, host different battles. If you guys want to put on some battles on a live stream, or send me replays, or play my tournaments, literally just get in contact with me. I'm pretty slow at replying, because, I'm not on my computer all days, but I will reply, so don't worry. Cool, both the competitors are ready. Let's get this underway. Is it going to be a 2-0 to Uzumaki as rocking Itza on my pizza? Going to make a comeback. Let's hope so. It'd be nice if we can get all games to go all the way. It always shows that you've got some decent matchups. Vigor. Soldiers tire as they run and fight, meaning they cannot engage in combat as effectively. This is true. If you see any units that have perfect vigor, do not underestimate it. It's very cool. I think you got the Blackhorn Ravagers. Is it Nakai who gives an aura of the perfect vigor, which is super good late game? Nakai looked like he was going to be a beast when we saw all the early access footage on kind of people like Turin's channel, and all the kind of big guys. people were bringing him and he was doing absolute bits, but it looks like since the release, unfortunately, he's been left behind a little bit. Let's have a little look at Rockin' Itza on my Pizza Empire army. So he has gone for a little range core of 3 units of crossbowmen. Where are they? There they are. So 3 units of crossbowmen do fairly decent in this matchup, although probably for handgunners, he might be expecting some marauders. We have a ton of spearmen with shields. We have the Sigma Sons, unbreakable swordsmen, do a decent job holding the line. We have the Tattered Souls here as well, the most holy of all of Sigma's worshippers, and they look absolutely disgusting and filthy. We have a cannon, which is the Hammer of the Witches, regiment-renowned great cannon, does some decent long-range work. We have Pistoliers, 2 units in fact, and some Demigryph Knights of Halberds. These guys will tear apart big monsters very, very quickly, but they often do get targeted down by, you know, death spells, Fair Buna, all that type of stuff. Now for his leadership core, he does have a Bright Wizard. Let's have a little look at what he's come with. Bright Wizard with Burning Head, Flaming Sword of Ruin, and Fireball. We have a Witch Hunter, and we also have Boris Todbringer, the slightly cheaper Karl Franz, but still a decent combatant overall. He has the White Cloak of Ulrich on him. He's also got Crush the Weak, which is a very kind of Empire Captain-y thing to do, and the Middenland Runefang giving him regeneration. So let's now have a little look at the Chaos Army. So on the flanks here we have some Chaos Warhounds protected by some Chaos Knights. For the main battle line, looks like we have some Chaos Spawn, which I believe did get a points reduction not too long ago, so it's nice to see them in action. And we have some Chaos Marauders for the front line, mixing with Chaos Warriors with great weapons, Mirror Guard, all sorts of different stuff mixed in here. Chaos Warriors with great weapons, some more Marauders, and more Marauders who will be very susceptible to that crossbow fire. Another unit of Chaos Warhounds, and some Marauder Horsemen throwing axes. We have the Swords of Chaos in the back here, very cool unit, who did get buffed, not last patch that happened today, but the patch before, so nice to see these guys in action, they look very cool. And they're going to be rolling with the big homie Archaon that they're ever chosen, so they're Flaming Swords, Flaming Hooves out, nice to see those guys used. And do we in fact have 2 units of Chaos Spawn? No, it looks like just the 1, so for the army, that is it. Surely there is a Spellcaster. No Spellcaster, oh, Archaon. He's a hybrid spellcaster, right? Yes, he is. Okay, thank God. He himself has brought the Slayer of Kings, which is quite nice. Burning Head, Cascading Fire Cloak, and the Crown of Domination. As we can see, they have got underway, so let's get rid of that now. And let's see them crush it out. So Great Cannon already firing some shots in, I believe. I think I heard the sound. Yep, it is firing. What did it aim at? Looks like nothing has taken any damage, so whatever it did aim at was a bit of a swing and a miss. This forest is going to allow the Chaos to advance fairly unimpeded, but then there is this massive open ground here, and of course he is attacking, he is firing his cannon, so he can force those Chaos forward. They can take huge damage. Massive burst from the Pistoliers here, doing huge damage to the Marauder Horsemen actually. I was very surprised how much they did, but they are now getting chased away pretty quickly. So yeah, Empire going to be taking the nice defensive approach. Pistoliers did try and turn and shoot, but now I think that was I mean, they're tearing apart his Marauder Horsemen. I'm very surprised here, but it looks like they are also being shot at by the cannon, really forcing these guys off, trying to protect these Pistoliers as much as possible. Now, let's see. Boris floating around, looking for some targets, and we do have Pistoliers on this left flank. Shoot down some Chaos Marauders. Not the best target. They are, you know, ranges in their shields here, fairly cheap and cheerful. Crossbowmen are actually going to be a pretty good pick here, so they're going to do good against Marauders and including these Chaos Spawn. We do have Pistoliers charging forward, and Boris does manage to break off these Marauder Horsemen. Got to be a little bit careful though. Archaon is a very beastly combatant, and he comes up with a massive swipe there, instantly tanking down some of Boris's health, and he's now been pinned in by these Chaos Warhounds. This could be a disaster for Boris. We have Cascading Fire Cloak, Slayer of Kings, Stand of Die, all popped up on top of Archaon, the Ever Chosen, and he is slaughtering Boris with each hit he makes. The Swords of Chaos swooping in, trying to stop Boris from running away, and he has in fact started to run. This is huge. A fireball comes in from the Bright Wizard. Boris needs to get in the air. If he gets many more hits in the back by Archaon, he is going down super quickly. I really like the initial play, using Boris to shatter off those Marauder Horsemen, or scare them off, sorry. But he got caught by Archaon, and Archaon is a beast of a duelist. Unfortunately, Chaos Spawn are just standing still at the moment. Of course, he's trying to micro over here pretty effectively, and those crossbowmen are just tearing them apart. The rest of his battle line is moving up, and they do a decent job. Big burning head coming in, however, destroying Chaos Marauders and Spearmen alike. So let's see, Boris is being escorted off the field now by the Swords of Chaos and some Chaos Warhounds. He just can't get in the air. It looks like he's going to be gone, and that is massive. However, the front line not going too bad for the Empire, not fantastic either though, as Marauders have managed to sneak around the side, and they're going to be able to hop on top of these crossbowmen. Cascading Fire Cloak hops down on top of them as well, and there's still Demigryph Knights, which is going to be a big problem for Archaon and these Swords of Chaos to deal with, but this pick was huge. Boris being escorted off the field there. Great play by Uzumaki here. Swords of Chaos swooping back now. They're going to be able to hit this back line very aggressively. So you can see Archaon just beating up some crossbowmen where he wants. Front line is, of course, slowly going to favour the Chaos. Chaos Spawn, unfortunately, just getting shredded by crossbowmen. They're getting in there doing a little bit of work now, however. It's just these Demigryph Knights really need to protect these Pistoliers and get as much damage as they can. Big burning head coming down, doing decent damage to crossbowmen. Not the perfect cast, unfortunately. It is actually going to hit the Fire Wizard tiny bit, but he takes pretty much no damage, and the Demigryph Knights do manage to flee away. Demigryphs swooping around. Let's see where they're trying to run. They are rallying, coming back past the Hammer of the Witches, through these scared crossbowmen, and charging directly, it looks like, for Archaon the Everchosen, who does counter-charge with his Marauder Horsemen and get in there. Looks like he's going to try and drag down some of those guys, as the Swords of Chaos, who do have accusation popped on them, minus 30 armor, are going to engage as well, and they will get torn apart very quickly by his Demigryph Knights. With Archaon there, he himself will do a decent amount of decent amount of damage, sorry. It looks like the Chaos are just about going to manage to overrun this situation. A big burning head coming in here though, doing huge damage here to 3 units. Obviously more damage to the lightly armoured Chaos Marauders, however, but I don't think that's going to be enough to get him back in the game. Losing Boris that early may have cost him it. There was no one left to support the Demigryphs. Imagine if you had Boris and the Demigryphs both going for Archaon or trying to take down at the Swords of Chaos. They've done a very decent job. Only 18 kills so far, but you know, they've managed to help chase off Boris and even fight the Demigryphs. Chaos Spawn's still going, of course, being unbreakable. They charge on top of these Pistoliers and routing them off. And I think that is army losses looking like they're going to set in very soon. The Witch Hunter trying to stand his ground, but Archaon, what a duelist, coming in, flaming sword with his ultimate bodyguards as well in the distance, doing decent work, and he is going to easily beat the crap out of that Witch Hunter. A nice fireball coming here, raking down the line, but ultimately looks like it's just going to kill poor little Dave here as Dave does go down. And that is going to be game, so a quick 2-0 there. 2 very good games, however, I feel that last game, it was literally just the loss of Boris. Very unfortunately, quite early on, got pinned in by those Wolves. Very nice play. Wolves round one side, Archaon on the other. He didn't have enough time to escape before the, what they call Swords of Chaos arrived and just dragged him down. So that is going to be a 2-0. Yeah, Archaon, he's saying he was nasty. He was a monster. Absolute beast there. So, Uzumaki will stay in the lobby. So, Chosen, if you are watching the stream, please do hop back into the lobby. Rocket, it's on my pizza. We'll be leaving it in just a second. And we'll get the finals underway. Cool, just get them all sorted. Cool, and he has left, so we all set up the last match. Which the first map is going to be Kelp and Koldas, so just moving up one there. Next map will be Alpine Ridge, and then Valley of Thieves if it goes to best of 3, and Chosen has arrived. Oh, looks like we've got a lot going on in the chat. What's up, guys? What's up, Cano? Nice to see you, man. I don't think I've seen you here before. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first on my channel, we do tournaments every 2 or 3 weeks, live streams, videos every single week, so feel free to subscribe, man, if you like what you see, and drop a like and all that stuff. If you drop a like, a puppy is born, so, you know, do it for the puppies, man. So, let's just say what's up to these guys. And let's change the scoreboard. So we have Uzumaki, luckily still on the right side. Boop, move him down to 1. And some very good games there by Pizza, but Chosen is now in place. Oh, just try and get that away. Cool. Uzumaki is going to go Lizards. And Chosen is going to go Skaven by the looks of it. A matchup which I think famously favoured the Skaven way back when this game first came out. Giselles were so good at taking down the big monsters, lords, and all the slow, lumbering, moving lizardmen. But now lizardmen have so many new options, so much harass units, skinks, red-crested skinks. There's so much that I don't think they have too bad a matchup against anyone. They have some, you know, I don't necessarily like playing, as I spoke about, Dark Elves are quite hard before. Skaven can be quite hard, but you definitely have the tools. So who is your money on in this final Chosen one, the veteran or Uzumaki Norio, who is an underdog coming into this situation? I think putting max chevrons on swords and spears is the way to go. Really cost effective. It does work quite well, especially if you're coming up against chaff. It makes them hold just for eternity. But you need the other tools, obviously, to do the damage. But yeah, I quite like that Noob for Life. Quite like that. Yeah, like spear and cav, like, kind of spam, basically, can be used quite a lot. It can be really, really effective, though, at the same point. But of course there are unit caps and so forth on this tournament, so people can't spam too much. You still can obviously theme your armies. I don't like it too many restrictions, but there are a few. So, looks like no questions. Both choosing their armies. There is no rush, no pressure. There's a very chilled out tournament. That's the way I try and make it as much as possible. One, it's easier and more relaxing for me as well to commentate, and for the players just to enjoy. You know, we're not doing some hugely super competitive, this is kind of a Eternal Challenger League or a Ever Chosen, any of that type of stuff. Maybe one day it will grow kind of that big, but we're always going to be inviting players who haven't played in tournaments before and experienced players, trying to get a nice mixture of both. And at some point, I've been meaning to do this for a while. I need to speak to Crosson about it, as I think it was his idea of making a tournament just for new players. But 3 of the players today, I think this is their first tournament. So cool, looks like Chosen is ready. And Uzumaki will be up next. If he brings Razordons, he will be a man of the people and a man of the rubber ducks, but we will see. So, Chosen is ready. Just waiting on the last one. Go all monster mash here, some dinos and hellpits. I would love that. I would love that. Just a full-on, just... Oh, that'd be so gross, just kind of sort of tearing apart, like the rotten flesh of a hell pit as just warp, kind of stone leaks out. Oh, that'd be disgusting. But great. Yeah, man, micro in this game can be really tough, bro. It can be pretty punishing. A few secs, please. Yeah, no rush. Yeah, so for new players to this game, micro is basically when you have to micromanage everything. So of course your big front lines engage, but there's so much you have to do with cav, shooting, magic, flying units. You can't let your lord get caught. Your opponent's trying to do all sorts of sneaky spells. You have to try and dodge them. There is a ton of micromanagement. I think this is probably the most micro-intensive Total War. Cool, looks like they're all good to go. Most micro-intensive Total War in my opinion so far. But then again, I haven't played too many. Back when I was a kid, I played Rome Total War a ridiculous amount, like crazy amount. I loved that game. Just campaigned, didn't do multiplayer. Played Medieval Total War. And then I really got into Warhammer Total War campaign. And since I got Warhammer Total War 2, that's when I've really kind of got heavily into multiplayer. And it's quite a big, steep learning curve. I really struggled to start with. And now I'm a much better player. I think commentating really helps. So watching these type of videos is the best way to learn, honestly. Seeing some of the best players play. I really recommend watching Turin's Eternal Challenger League. You see some players actually that have played in these tournaments before, all the heavy hitters kind of compete and play out, and you kind of get a general gist of what to do basically. But yeah, if you are new to this game, stick it out. I'm always happy to play some games with you. It's a very steep learning curve, but it's well worth it. So let's have a little look at the Chosen One's army here. Go over here. So, we've been jumping around at the moment, but we'll try and get through what we can. So, we do have 2 units of Rat Ogres in the back here, which would be pretty damn decent. He's gone for Lord Skrulk once again, and of course he has brought Royal Corruption and I always forget its name, the Liber Boombonicus. For his front line, he has gone for a mixture of Skaven Slaves mixed in with Skaven Slaves Spears, so very cheap and cheerful. We have the Council Guard here. We've already spoken about this stream. Unbreakable, Regiment Renowned, Storm Vermin, incredibly powerful. It's so vital having that unbreakable unit in a Skaven army. We have Blight Scabs, Plague Pack. Haven't seen these guys in action too much. Regiment Renowned, Plague Bearers. And yeah, lots of Skaven Slaves mixed in with a few Clan Rats in the very front. We have some Warplock Giselles up on the hill here. It looks like we in fact do have 3 units of Raugers, not 2. We have... how many Warplock Giselles? We have 1 unit of Warplock Giselles, Rattling Gunners, which we saw him use to great effect previously, Poison Wind Globadiers, who you do not see too often, little grenade throwing masterminds here. They can do a ton of damage if left unimpeded. So 1, 2, was there another one over here? No, it looks like he was just moving them across. So it looks like a fairly similar idea. He has 3 units he really needs to protect here, the Warp Lightning Cannon, Warplock Giselles, and Rattling Gunners. He has Rat Ogres on babysitting duty on all of them, and then just massive amounts of chaff, mixed in with 1 or 2 elite units to hold the line. If we have a little look at the Lizardman army here of Uzumaki. So on the flank here, some Skink cohorts, and then from main line, he has gone Saurus Warriors with shields. They will slowly mulch through the cheap chaff. He has the cohort of Sotek in the back here. Legion of Shakwa, who would be very decent at... They have a very nice ability where they give damage resistance or missile resistance to all nearby allies for a brief time. We have some Cold One Riders on either flank, and we have actually a flying contingent. So we have the Colossodon Hunters, Regiment Renowned Rhipidactyls, can do a ton of damage. They will tear apart things like Hell Pit Abominations very quickly. We have a Skink Chief in the air. It's nice to see that Uzumaki seems to really enjoy his Skink Chiefs. Nice to see the little fella use. And we also have Lord Mazdamundi, not on Zlak. Very interesting. Of course, Zlak wouldn't be very good in this matchup, but he has Ruination of Cities, Banishment, Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis, Harmonic Convergence, and Amaton. As you can see, he is instantly getting beamed by the Cannon and the Warplock Giselles, but the Legion of Shakwa can pop their buff, and they're going to need to very quickly to keep him alive. If he's allowed to live the entire battle, he will decimate this Skaven army, but I'm really... I don't know, I feel like he's going to get torn apart by range. Saurus Warriors, look how much damage they're taking just from the crossfire coming in here. Lord Mazdamundi, though, does have the Shield of Shakwa currently popped up on him. Does try getting away with sneaky banishment, but the Skaven do move out of the way. But it seems to be following them a little bit. It is tracking them. I would have probably popped that on the Warplock Giselles just to try and disrupt them as much as possible. As we've seen him previously do, Clan Rats are being spawned up in the front ahead of his army just to try and delay the Saurus Warriors as much as possible. The flying contingent is starting to swoop around with these Cold One Riders, and of course all the heavy weapons have been aimed at Mazdamundi, and he's soaking up all that fire and these other very scary units to move in. Very nice pick here. Rhipidactyls charging into the Rat Ogres, and they will tear them apart. Rat Ogres don't do too bad, but the idea of Clan Rat Spears also moving up to try and support. I think I hear a net being dropped somewhere. A net is being dropped down on the Blight Scab Plague Pack. There's a bit of a mouthful there, just keeping them out of action. Mazdamundi is taking a pounding. Unfortunately, it looks like some Cold One Riders have been forgotten on the flank. They're now being moved. They need to swoop around, and he needs to shut down this back line. I would take the Skink Chief and just jump on one of these range units, but there are Rat Ogres on bodyguard duties. Really nice play here so far by Chosen. Unfortunately, Lord Mazdamundi is just getting slaughtered right now, and there's no way he is escaping here. Luckily though, Lizmen have very good leadership. Looks like we also have 2 units of Chameleon Skinks, which I missed earlier. These guys, nice missile resistance, very good unit overall. Quite like them in this matchup as well. They need to get in there and do a bit more work. Skink Chief, unfortunately, is now getting pounded by 2 units of Rat Ogres, and that is going to force Poison Hunters off as well. And I think this game is going to be pretty well won here by Chosen. He's managed to keep his backline pretty much intact. He was threatened at different points by these flying units and obviously some Cold One Riders, but it wasn't enough. The attack wasn't in sync enough, I don't think, wasn't synchronized, and front line just doesn't have enough to beat down these elite troops. And the Blight Scab Plague Bearer pack are very healthy, and they will munch through the Saurus Warriors pretty damn comfortably. Going to do some Skaven Slaves. Now currently engaged with some Chameleon Skinks, but looks like they're going to break. Rattling Gunners, let's see. They are currently up to only 4 kills. They've done a lot of damage, and these Rattling Gunners, the Warp Lightning Cannon clearly wasn't on defend mode, and it looks like it is pushing forward to a very dangerous position where it definitely 100% should not be. So a little bit of a slip up in micro there, but of course, there's 1,000 things going on at once. Ratogers beating the crap out of some Cold One Riders, which is going to go very good for them. And all across, it looks like the Lizardmen are starting to struggle. It has finally gone to the back line with some Cold One Riders, but it's just a little too late. Warp Gazelles will probably be going down here. Warp Lightning Cannon desperately trying to reposition here. All 3 range units actually under quite a lot of pressure, but there's just not enough left for the Lizardmen, I think, to capitalise on such things. Chameleon Skinks doing the little blow darts in where they can, but Skrulk is very healthy at the moment. No leadership as well. The Lizardmen are going to start to waver. Power balance going very heavily now in the favour of Chosen and the Skaven Horde, so I feel like army losses aren't too far away. We can see some Cold Ones rampaging all around the place, but they're now mixed up in with Council Guard, who are pretty much untouched here, and they are going to tear apart these Cold Riders very effectively. And the little grenade throwing Poison Wind Globadiers doing decent damage, only up to 11 kills. But I feel like the Cannon and themselves have really done the heavy lifting here, and everything else is kind of swamped in, held the line long enough to allow them to really do the work and obviously pin off Mazdamundi. Well, I think could have been a good pick. He was very ballsy. I don't like taking Slan in this. I much prefer someone taking someone like Gorok or a Foot Lord of some description, very kind of small lord. Because you do see this fairly often, the Warp Gazelles mixing with the Warp Cannons. Very unlucky there, but GG's, well played. So that is game 1 to Chosen in this best of 3 finals. And it looks like Chosen wants to go Dark Elves. Unfortunately, we may not see any Razordons, which is very, very upsetting. And here, Alpine Ridge it is. So why they decide matchups and stuff, I will remember to add the one here. Boop. So Chosen is 1 up. Do you think he's going to take this in a 2-0 series? Or do you feel like Uzumaki Nori will manage to do a comeback? And it looks like, oh, some elf on elf violence. Oh, I'll see a bit of that for now. Ah, there we go. Cool. And the map is Alpine Ridge, which has this giant hill in the middle. I always play it as the second game in the finals, as it's both players trying to crawl their way to the top and fight for the title of being the Death Before Dishonour's champion. Last week was, of course, Flying Taco. So when we have 4 champions, they will all be invited back if they can make it to a champion special. They all battle out to prove who is the champion of that season. Very much done like most of like kind of the big tournaments, like the Total Challenger League by Turin and all those type of things. So looks like Chosen is ready. And last time we had Zach B. Sane, I believe, become the ultimate challenger. He hasn't played yet in this season's Death Before Dishonour, but I'm sure we'll get him back at some point. And he went up against, I believe, Ben the Barman, Zach B. Sane, who were the other ones? Consul of Rome and Worsha. Consul of Rome did, in fact, take Falcon's place. Falcon couldn't make it, and it was a very good... basically all the champions fighting. It was of course going to be very good and really good fun. You can go check that out on the channel. Have a quick little look at chat here. Oh, looks like there's been loads going on. Skink Chief or Scottish first game. I really like the Skink Chief. People have been bringing him today, and I've been surprised. I'm not going to lie at how well he's done. So maybe I'm wrong about that old fella. Maybe he does have some really good utility. Yeah, there were some pretty weird picks there from Uzumaki, wasn't there? But I think the Terror would have done good, and bringing Mazdamundi, I think, was a mistake. I think that may have cost him it, but it's a tough one, because you never know. Your opponent is going to be in your mind saying, okay, he thinks I'm going to bring Giselle, so maybe I go for a Death Star instead, and he doesn't bring anything to deal with that. So it's a little bit back and forth. But let's get this cracking here. So this could be the final game of the stream. Or if Uzumaki brings it back, it could go to a 3-game series. And it looks like he's got a very experimental build over there, which is going to be very cool. So, for the Chosen One, he has gone for 3 units of Bleak Swords, and 3 standard units of the Dread Spears, and also the Hellebronai, the chillest of dudes, and as I think it's Italian Spartacus who says, the chillest of bros. They're going to be decent, not do too much damage, but that front line will hold the line or soak up missile pressure, which obviously you expect a lot of from the Wood Elves. Now he's gone for a heavy cav core, as you would kind of expect in this matchup, with 1, 2, 3 units of Cold One Knights, which will be able to beat the crap out of pretty much all Wood Elf cavalry and infantry fairly effectively. We also, somewhere, where art thou? Where have you gone? I swear there were some Dark Riders here like 2 seconds ago. I'm being heavily blind. So Cold One Knights, Cold One Knights. Ah. Well, I'll spot them in a second, I'm sure. So 3 units of Cold One Knights. He has the Cold One Chariot, which is also pretty decent in this matchup. We have Marathi up on her flying little horsey. And she is coming with Soul Sealer, obviously very good. Melkov's Mystifying Miasma, Heartrender and Dark Sword, all that good stuff. Enchanting Beauty, all her usual stuff. So quite a nice build over there, basically relying on the Cav game very heavily. We also have 1, 2, 3 units of Harpies up in the skies, and I knew they were here somewhere. I can't see them on the map because they're so much in the edge. There's 2 units of Dark Riders. Now for the Wood Elf army and Uzumaki, who's on the back foot here. He does have 2 units of Glade Riders, which can do decent work. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Eternal Guardsmen. He has the Hawk Eyes of Drakira, quite a nice pick there. Wildwood Rangers. He also has Firebark Elders, Regiment Round Tree King, and Durfu the Beast himself. I quite like him actually. Bit dangerous in this matchup in case your opponent has brought loads of Dark Riders and so forth, but he is an off-meta pick and can often confuse people. In the distance, there's also the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, who now have a bonus versus large, and another unit of Wild Riders who can do very decent work. Looks like the Glade Riders are easily going to be able to out-skirmish the Harpies here. Let's get this battle underway. Looks like the Wood Elves are going to be pushing to try and get that high ground here. And we're going to have a bit of a wet noodle contest in the front line between Eternal Guard and Dread Spears. And then it's going to really come down to the Cold One Knights, who I think are going to have the advantage here up against Firebark Embers, Durfu, and those expensive units on the Wood Elf roster. However, if the Hawk Eyes of Drakira can use up all their ammo, they can shred units. Massive early charge. They managed to just about make it to hill first. And a downward charge now coming from 2 units of Cold One Riders plus Cold One Chariots did some serious damage to those Eternal Guard. Big shots coming in though, doing some decent damage to the Cold One Knights. He's just trying to take a defensive position up on top of this hill, and it looks like the Wild Hunters of Kurnos are unfortunately going to get a Melkov's Mystifying Miasma caused on them, which is pretty essential as they're a very, very powerful unit now. They're just around escorting these Glade Guard, which is just trying to finish off these Harpies. Not a bad shout, trying to limit the mobility of the Dark Elves, but they do have it in spades. So some nice early shots coming in. Glade Riders doing some okay work to Cold One Knights. And let's see, Hawkeye's Drakira trying to pin down that Cold One Chariot, but unfortunately a little bit of a swing and a miss there. So how is the skirmish game going? Harpies, I mean, they can just take shots, you know, they're not too expensive. And this other unit of Glade Riders doing some decent work on some Cold One Knights, however, but they need to be careful, as it looks like Marathi, doing the world's longest swoop in charge here, is coming down for a charge. But unfortunately she's a little bit too slow. Glade Riders, of course, are incredibly fast. And we now have some not Wild Riders, some Way Watcher pressure coming in on her. Takes a little bit of damage. The Wood Elves are starting to do a downward charge now. Eternal Guard charging into the Hellebronai Dread Spears. They do okay. The Hellebronai should win that, of course, being a regiment renowned. But the Firebark Embers should be very good here up against the Bleak Sword and should tear them apart, along with Marathi. We do have a Feral Manticore summon coming in from Durfu himself. Looks like he's going to try and break this right flank of Dread Spears. Not a bad shout, try and get a bit of map control, but it does look like Cold One Riders and these Dark Riders are wrapping around the back now to do some decent work. The downward charge does come in. Eternal Guard can be fighting for Durfu with their hardest. Wild Riders rampage into the back line, getting a nice pick here by Uzumaki onto these Dark Riders of the Chosen One. And fending them off. However, they are going to get a little bit swamped, and everywhere else we look, the Dark Elves are just rampaging up this hill, and this is going to be a big struggle, I feel, for the Wood Elves. In the back, we do have a 2-on-2 fight here. Oh, looks like one unit just pretty much deleted it. They probably had pulled back over here, and just one guy was left. So the Harpies are coming in here. They will get torn apart by the Wild Riders. And is that a big flock of doom coming down? No, a big soul stealer coming down from Marathi. In the distance, we do have some harpies being scared off by glade riders who, they're holding up 2 units of harpies, which isn't the worst. Now, where are the wild riders of Kurnos? They're over here. They've managed to surround the Cold One Chad. Great pick here. They're going to be able to drag this guy down with their bonus versus large, and it's going to find it really tough to escape. Durfo as well, pretty unharmed, and he's going to do decent work all along this front line. He's got to be really scared of these Cold One Riders, however. You need to get the Wild Riders of Kurnos, getting some decent charges on them, maybe being assisted by the other ones. But it looks like the Dark Elves have completely overrun this back line. Wild Riders swooping down, trying to get some damage where they can. This back line looks like it could be won, however, by the Dark Elves, well, let's see what they have. They have Dark Riders, Cold One Knights that could struggle. Ferroman score has, of course, been summoned. Durfu standing strong and proud in the middle here, and these Wildwood Rangers, let's see, they should be tearing through this front line, up to 83 kills. Looks like they have taken a couple of charges though from some infantry, and this game is a lot closer than I thought it was going to be from the off. I looked at both the armies, I thought the Dark Elves had quite a big advantage, and they still have a massive cav core. But Durfu, very, very healthy here, wade into the front line, going to be helping out his beleaguered Elven brethren. It looks like the Cold One Chat did manage to escape the Wild Riders, and they, unfortunately, it looks like got in big kind of mushy situations they do not want to be in, up against all these Cold One Knights, and they're both very broken units right now. Farbark Elders have gotten a little bit isolated here, and they're going to be completely surrounded by Cold One Knights. It really needs to keep them close to Durf, make a pocket of strength, try and make a stand by bunching up a little, I think, as he doesn't have the maneuverability to chase like this, as the Wild Riders are very, very beat up. And now these Farbark Embers are going to get surrounded by 3 units and just dragged down, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. Wild Riders engage with some Dark Riders, and with Melkov's Mystify and Miasma placed on them, they are going to lose that engagement. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos are very loyal to their Liege Lord here, it would seem. There's only 4 of them, but they have rallied, and as I say that, they do then shatter. I can't blame them, there's only 4 of them left, they've seen some pretty dark stuff. However, the front line isn't going too bad for the Wood Elves. They managed to win this left flank and the centre fairly comfortably, mainly because of Big Papa Durfu, who it looks like has dropped a Sword of Dave, getting some great value on 2 units of Cold One Knights, 3 units of Cold One Knights. If he comes in here and just smacks them around a little bit, he looks like he may have been able to save the Firebark Elves and break off 3 units. Unfortunately, he has nothing to chase them down, apart from possibly if these Glade Riders do come back. Durfu may be swinging this in favour of the Wood Elves here. Chosen, of course, has been on the back foot before and managed to win, so we'll see how this plays out. Glade Riders up in combat against Dark Riders, bit of a wet noodle contest, but Dark Riders should do pretty fine there, unless this little blob does rally and charge over there. Marathi is, in a fairly dangerous situation. She doesn't want to stand here too long against Wildwood Rangers. They actually do pack quite a heavy punch, but a big rally coming in from the Dark Elves here. A lot of infantry has rallied, Cold One Chariot going charging in, and that thing has been all over the place, up to 35 kills, nothing too scary. Been doing a decent amount of damage. Looks like Glade Riders did in fact win that battle up against the Dark Riders over on the edge here, and they're now going to be firing some shots into the second unit, but Dark Elves are rallying all over the place, which is a problem, and a big Sword of Dave, if it does come in, it could do huge work here. Then again, so could a Soul Stealer, so a bit of giving back, giving forth, or give and take, sorry, depends on what spells and abilities they have left, and considering Durfu just used the sword, it's not going to be up for a little while. He's trying to make a last stand on the hill here. Farbark Elders going to beat the crap out of these Bleak Swords very comfortably. Durfu just needs to rally on top of those guys, get your Eternal Guard, get your Wildwood Rangers, get Durfu, blob up. I mean, yes, you've got the rest of Soul Stealer there, but it's quite late in the battle. She might not have the Winter Magic, and I think you might be able to tear out a lot of these with Big Durfu. A few shots been flung over by Glade Guards. Actually managed to break some Bleak Swords. I would now use these guys simply to hunt down units like these Cold One Riders, kite them, shoot them with archers where you can, and chase units off the field, as we can see Chosen is doing. Obviously a very elite player. Always good to chase off units. I mean, there's 15 Glade Riders. They can still pack a punch. Just chase them off the battlefield and get rid of them. Rafi here chasing off some Eternal Guard. Get that value where you can. Try and get that power balance in your favour as much as possible. Cool, make sure there's nothing in the chat there. Glade Rider's doing a decent job here, just pinning down these Dark Riders. And it's literally going to be this little Wood Elf core here against the world. And Cold One Rider, unfortunately he's getting some of his units a little bit isolated here, allowing the Cold One Chariots just to charge through them. If they were on top of these Farbark Elders and Durfu, obviously he gets stuck on them and then take a pounding in return. But I understand it is incredibly hard when you try and move as a blob. Of course, the fast units go first and all that type of stuff. It can be a little bit tricky to unite all their forces, but I wouldn't leave Durf out like this. He needs to be moving with the blob. Dark Elves running all over the place, although it looks like some Wild Riders have raided as well. Could be very useful for just chasing down routing units, as the Harpies are doing here for the Dark Elves. So what's over there? Looks like, oh, just some Dread Spears who are running off the pitch. So the Firebark Embers are against the wall now, holding the line. This is what I mean. They can hold and pin in these Cold One Chariots and do a decent amount of work back. So if Durthu was down here, he could have just probably destroyed one or two, or if not completely destroyed. In fact, there's only one Cold One Chariot left. Probably would have completely destroyed it. Panzer Pendulum Pelts being dropped down with Firebark Embers, but the Dark Elves simply going to draw. They're attacking in other areas, so it's all good. And Dread Spears are going to beat down this Eternal Guard, but it looks like trees are on their way here. Wildwood Riders coming through, looking like to try and ping off any units they can, but Harpies are going to retaliate, and just by showing up, they shatter those Wildwood Rangers. Power balance still in favour of the Wood Elves here, just because of how healthy Durthu is. Literally, climb the hill, mate, sit on it. It's all you can do in this situation. As you see, the Dark Elves are still attacking, chasing down units wherever they can. So these Glade Riders are going to be hunted down by the Harpies. This is some really elite play by Chosen. Even though the power balance is against him, he's picking off units all over the map, really helping his chances here. Cold One Chariots here, just very slowly walking through some Wildwood Rangers, and those guys, there's only 9 on the left, but they're going to shatter very shortly. He's trying to chase with these guys, but at this point, you're not going to be able to catch them. I would get on the hill, get the high ground, and prepare yourself for the final fight. As Eternal Guard have shattered, so as soon as these guys shatter, we will be getting the final engagement. We'll quick little look at chat here, just to make sure there's no questions. Yes, he is a hero of the people for bringing Durthu. I love Durthu, man. He can be good, man. Sword of Faith is incredibly powerful against blobs. Plus, look at him. He just looks incredibly badass. I wish he was viable against Dowie just because of his backstory, but he's definitely not. Large targets really do struggle against Dowie quite heavily. So it looks like everything is shattered for the Wood Elves. It is these last 2 units for the final engagement. They're going to get completely surrounded. Can they hold? Can Durthu be the hero the Wood Elves need? If he has a Sword of Faith here and gets a big surround, he's going to do huge damage. So Chosen coming in for the charges here. Looks like the Hellebro Knight are coming in, and he's going to get those rear attacks with the Harpies. And also Morathi, who is no slouch in this situation. She does, in fact, have anti-large. Pans and Penetrable Pelt does drop down as well from his guy's physical distance. And Durthu comes in with the pimp slap of the gods there. Another big slap, and Morathi needs to be careful. Durthu is no mean feat. And what's this? Is he dropping something else down? Or is that just the Pans and Penetrable Pelt? Might just be that coming in here. So, Morathi, got to be a little bit scared here. Durthu is an absolute beast, and a lot of these Dark Elf units are shattering and running off the field. Or breaking, sorry, not shattering quite yet. And the Treekin standing firm by their Lord Durthu here, who is just a beast at the moment. Really doing some work. He needs to finish off this Cold One Chariot, which is now terrified. Morathi can easily escape him. Focus on the units you can catch. Force Dark Elves to commit. So it looks like these Dread Spears are also terrified running away. Harpy's now kind of rampaging in, but there's not much he can do. Cycle Charge from Morathi is his best bet here with her anti-large. He'll probably try and pick off the Firebark Elves and then completely surround Durthu, but it's a pretty tough situation. Looks like we're having a little bit of lag here. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's the first lag we've actually had all tournament. And this is still on Life's Edge. I think it's pretty heavily in favour of the Wood Elves, but hopefully we shouldn't get any cutouts here, as Morathi can't take Durthu in a fight, and that's pretty much all we have left. Come on, lag. Please don't lag. Hold your ground. Oh, we're back moving. Hopefully it should level itself out here. We haven't had any lag so far, so I don't know why all of a sudden it has decided to lag. Shouldn't be anything on my end, hopefully. I don't think anyone is doing any downloads in my household. I do share a house with coloured people, so sometimes I will need to time these things, but... Durthu coming in with a big right-hand slap there on Morathi. And hopefully we will sort this out. There's not much we can do at the moment mid-battle. Hey, Aristodemus! What's up, bro? You have come in at the final, and this could be the final game. So Chosen has managed to get to the final, representing the ODM clan. Looks like we're back on. Don't know what that little lag spike was about here. But you've made it into the final a little bit late, bro. But this, of course, will be uploaded afterwards. So you can always go back and check it out if you fancy it. And Uzumaki, in his first ever tournament here, has got to the final. And it looks like he's going to take it to a 3-match series, which is pretty impressive. Unfortunately, the Cold Chariot is out of control now. Durfo will quite easily be able to slap this guy to pieces. And that's quite unfortunate for him. He is routed, and there's not much left. So the Dark Elf player is still attacking here, because he's attacking the Firebark Elders to ensure they go off the field. And it's going to be Marathi versus Durfu, which she's got anti-large, but I can only see this going one way. And if we... Ooh, yeah. So if we have a look overall of the whole battlefield, 3 units of Dread Spears, incredibly beat up. They're instantly going to break as soon as they touch Durfu. Marathi, don't know if she's got much magic left, but even if she does, I just don't think it's going to be enough. So he's going to be committing to the fight in a second. Have to chase... Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I understand he had to chase off the Firebark Embers. That's completely cool, man. So Durfu, remember a big old stomp there. Marathi trying her best. She is cycle charging. These Dread Spears do need to engage if he is going to be doing that. Panda Penetrable Belt has been popped from Durfu, but he does engage with the Hellebro Knight. And look at that violence. One sweep there and blood just goes everywhere. Trying to get those rear attacks in by Marathi, but she's just going to get slapped to pieces every time she does fight. We do have Dread Spears also popping in here. So Durfu literally just finished off the Dread Spears. I would. Soul Stealer has been popped. Might keep her in the action. Just finish off all the infantry so it forces Marathi to stay in the engagement. And you should be doing all good. Fortunately, we keep getting these lag spikes ammo, which is the first time on stream, so hopefully that won't affect the final game if this does go the way, which I can see it going. Marathi gonna have to put on a backpack here and carry the squad. I don't know if she's gonna be able to. So, Dread Spears are terrified, so Marathi, yep, does turn around and engage as she is forced to. And Durfu is getting a little bit ready here, contemplating his next move, doing a little cheeky laugh, and comes in with a big clap there. Dread Spears have raided those, so they are going to be coming back into the action. GG's by both players there, but I don't know if it's completely over. I mean, Marathi has managed to get Durfu down by about half health. Dread Spears, I have no idea how they keep coming back. I mean, look at him. Look how many kills he has. He's up to 148 kills. Would you come back and face him? I don't think so. Both units are broken. Marathi has to attack now and stay in combat, although it looks like some Dread Spears have raided again, so she may fall back and attack with the Dread Spears, which is of course very frustrating, unfortunately, for Uzumaki. But literally, as soon as the guy gets close, there they go, they break. So Marathi will be coming in for the charge. And swoop, coming for a big slap, and a big sword instantly going down on Marathi, trying to bring her down. She is down now to 2,000 health. Massive slap there, doing some huge damage. Another big slap. It looks like he's not connecting anywhere near as much as he would hope. Last unit Dread Spears, once these guys go, Marathi will have to stand and fight. Oh, he needs to be in combat if he wants to pull out. Well, this is the last unit now, I think, to be honest. He is going to struggle here. He's done his best. Marathi has to stay in combat. I'll let him know if he falls, so now he has to stay. Yeah, okay. Marathi just going to get slapped here. There's not too much he did. Very well played by Chosen. Force it down to a Lord here, but Uzumaki, with the Wood Elves, is going to be able to take this to a 3-game series on his first ever tournament, which is incredibly impressive. Played against Chosen 1 before, he's a very good player. He has beaten me multiple times, and Marathi terrified, and with that, it is game! So we're going all the way to the final match. I think, no, one game was a 2-0, but we've had 2 free games now, going all the way to 2-1s. So, massive GG to both players there. Oh, don't want to be caps lock. No, Durfu stands strong. I like Durfu. I liked the pick. It's risky because there's so much armor piercing you can bring with the Dark Elves, but of course he wasn't expecting it, so it's hard to match up. Cool, so we'll let those guys decide that. And we will switch to Valley of Thieves, which is a map I haven't used in ages. But I think it's pretty good. My poor little tree. Looks like Uzumaki is going to be going Tomb Kings, my most hated race. You just went from the People's Underworld Champion to So I want all the Tomb Kings to die. I hate you, Shopsy. Let's have a little quick look at chat. Real men never pull out. That is true, Croissant. Says unit has been combat. Oh, okay. Cheers, man. I will remember that. Sorry, dude. I thought if they were still moving to engage, it was fine. So is it just single entities which have to stay if no one else is in combat? Just give me a little heads up, bro. But nice to see we've got a few more people joining in now. See 11 watching. If you guys want to smash that thumbs up button, many puppies will be born, which is always good. We need more puppies in the world, and it supports the stream, obviously, if you are enjoying what you see. And it supports these competitors as well, who've put on a really good show so far. I have something to try, so I counter myself hard with greenskins. So we have greenskins versus Tomb Kings. I don't mind that. I mean, Tomb Kings have a lot of terror and large entities, which are a real pain in the ass for the greenskins to deal with. But you can surround very easily and get on top of you, Shapty, great bows, and all sorts very quickly. Cheers, Aristemos. Thank you for the clarification. For those who don't know, Aristemos, a very big guy in the community and a big supporter of all my streams. He's been on so many of them. It's always good to have him back. I'm gonna try and get him on one of these tournaments at some point. I'm gonna try and convince him. Because, also very key, definitely hit that subscribe button, because if we get to 1,000 subscribers, long time ago I promised Aristemos I would do a special stream, a 24-hour stream in his honour, called the Aristemos stream, of me playing for 24 hours if we got to 1,000 subscribers. I know maybe one day I'm heavily going to regret that decision, but we'll find out. Yeah, man, you can send it to me in Discord. I'll obviously read it after the tournament at some point, bro. Don't worry yourself too much there. You can always do it later, bro. For the rest of this tournament, we're going to play it basically within reason. Both players have to attack. We've got 3 players today who it's their first tournament, or I think one of them played 1 tournament before. So we've been a little bit lenient on the rules, although that was Chosen, who, of course, is a... don't mind me, my build is ready. Okay. Chosen, of course, who is an experienced tournament player. And representing ODM today, so if he does win this, he will be going into the finals at some point. The kind of champion special, when we have 4 champions, and the first champion was Extreme Meme Team's very own Flying Taco, who did some very good games. That was a really rock and roll set of 4 players, some really good elite players playing against each other. I will call you out on that day when it comes. Maybe, bro. Maybe. Man, if you make, like... I don't know how many accounts you'd have to make now, fake accounts. I've been getting a lot of subscribers recently, actually, so I'm a little suspect that you've been making some fake accounts to try and boost my numbers. Oh no, it looks like he is in fact going Dark Elves, not Greenskins. Which is a much better matchup for him than... Oh no, he's just been Dark Elves. Why are you not Greenskins? Don't mind if I have build ready. Maybe he's just going to switch to greenskins and then hop in. We'll obviously double check before we start. Hey, Logic EU, what's up, my dude? How's it going? Logic EU is in fact my housemate, and I am training him up on Total War. He's going to be getting a computer next month that can run Total War Warhammer 2 fully, so we're currently doing it on some old laptops, teaching him how to play Total War Warhammer 1. And he gets a little Woody on every time Flying Taco's name is mentioned, being his favourite player. So hopefully we'll have him soon on some tournaments as well. Maybe we'll have it as his first ever tournament. Maybe pair him up against someone like Aristemos and get him just to kite him or something. I'm ready. Cool. We'll let Chosen switch to his greenskins. And this is, of course, the final game. Let me update the scoreboard. Boop. Uzumaki, incredible performance so far in the tournament for his first ever one, getting to the finals and taking a point off the Chosen one. So very good. Flying second number 1. I don't know, I feel like there's a few players who'd have something to say about that. But he's very good. He is very, very good. I haven't managed to beat him yet. I've played him a couple of times on the stream. And he has some really nice Beastmen builds as well. Cool. Let's rock and roll. the final game to see who will be this week's champion, which gives you the ultimate bragging rights and an entry into the Champions of Champions special, which will take place once we have 4 separate champions. So who will be joining Flying Taco in the finals? This matchup, I think, it does quite heavily favour Tomb Kings, but it does at least neuter Ushabti Great Bows, which are my most hated unit in this game. I just can't kill them. I suck at hunting them down, and I feel Tomb Kings are really good at protecting their back line, and I just hate them. That's all I can say. That is all I can say on it. So who do you think is going to pull this out? The underdog or the heavyweight champion? Who do you reckon is going to pull it? Let's make this game last 35 minutes. Yes. Just pure kite. Just like Wood Elf on Dark Elf kite builds against each other. So, massive map here, quite an open map. Haven't used this one since, like, one of my first tournaments. But big hill on 2 sides, so you can force your opponent to come up a hill if you invest in the range. But if you do invest in range, there's so many options to flank people, as it is a massive, wide map. So let's have a little look at Chosen One's army. He wanted to try something out a little bit weird, I believe. And he has gone for Azak the Slaughterer up on top of his Wyvern here, which is pretty exciting to see. Don't see him picked too often. Wazak being the key one here, but it looks like he has gone for Spirit Leech, Soul Blight, and obviously he has War with him. So that's a pretty cool little guy there. We have the Rusty Arrows, of course, have Stalk and do Armor Sundering, so nice little pick there. 1, 2 units of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, some Savage Orc Boar Boys with triple chevron. You don't see these guys often at all, but Savage Orc Boar Boys, pretty cool. We have Goblin Wolf Riders, and Moragub's Mangy Marauders, Goblin Wolf Rider Regiment of Renown there. So nice little Cav Corps. And for his front line, Savage Orc Biggins, triple gold chevron. Pretty madness. Savage Orc Biggins, again triple gold. Savage Orcs, another Savage Orc Biggin. This is a crazy front line. It is going to mulch the crap for a front line, but if there's a lot of archers, which doesn't look like there's, that could do some serious damage here. It'd be interesting to see. So let's have a little look at Uzumaki's army here. Front line, Skeleton Warriors mixed in with the Kepper Guard here, Tomb Guard Regiment Renowned, and more Skeleton Warriors mixed in with Tomb Guard all the way up, and some Nekakar Warriors as well. They're going to be able to hold for a while, do some damage back, but they will ultimately lose their engagements here. We have a Necro Sphinx here, not the Regiment Renowned version, but this big kitty cat can do some huge damage. We have Cetra the Imperishable up on top of his undead horse here, and he has brought a ton of stuff. The Blessed Blade of Petra, Wrath of Petra, Incantation of Vengeance, Incantation of Protection, Incantation of Cursed Blades. He's brought literally like everything just for his lord there. He's going to be babysitting or be babysat by a Tomb Prince who works in a lot the same way as the High Elf Nobles, Anti-Large, Armor Piercing, Melee Expert. We also have the Chosen of the Gods, Regiment Renowned, and Skeleton Archer Chariots, and also Tunis of Carrion. 2 very interesting builds here. Not too many good targets for the Ushabti, apart from Azak the Slaughterer. There is only 1 unit, and good players can duke out the shots, but it is pretty hard. The large Cav contingent taking the high ground here should be able to shut down the Skeleton Archer Chariots fairly effectively. And the first volley does come blazing in, and they are targeting down Savage Orc Biggins, doing some huge damage there actually. But some of the Savage Orcs are going to be getting back up. They need to do that damage early on, try and get in there with some chariots, do some nice shock charging with him and the Necro Sphinx, as that front line, I think, is going to get mulched by the Savage Orcs. I haven't seen this played out too much. I haven't seen that many Savage Orcs in quite some time. I did just a couple of times bring like a meme, Wurzag, Savage Orc only build, which can be pretty fun. Spirit Leech come down on Cetra Imperishable by Azak, and he may even dive in there. The Tomb Prince is a little bit isolated from him, but again, it is risky. These are 2 very wide armies now getting ready to engage. We do have the Skeleton Archers who charged and did some decent early damage. However, they might get slowed down here by Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and the war has been popped. Azak goes charging in here, and these Savage Orcs are going to wreck this front line with a war popped. They have a whopping 78 melee attack. As you can see, it just deletes them. These Skeleton Warriors are getting deleted here. And all across the front line, that is going to be happening. I feel like, you know, that is going to be huge. However, there's still some really big elements at play for the Tomb King. Necro Sphinx is body slamming some Savage Orcs alongside this Tomb Prince. And the Kepper Guard are easily, you know, still pretty much full health. And they're destroying their Savage Orcs where they need to. Skeleton Warriors on the flanks have been crushed on both flanks, it looks like, and in the centre here as well, the Tomb Kings are getting slightly annihilated. In the back line, we have the Goblin Wolf Riders and Manging Marauders probably trying to swoop around on top of the Chosen of the Gods or the Necro Sphinx. Looks like Chosen of the Gods, but some Carrion are going back there to shut them down. As like the Slaughterer popping in there, easily going to destroy these Tomb Guard and finish them off. Power balance is now started to slide already in favour of the Greenskins, but a big Ushopti summon is going to balance it out slightly, and they will do very decent work against the Savage Orcs. However, the Savage Orcs are going to try and ignore them as much as possible. They are summoned unit, so they will disappear eventually. We have Savage Orc, Boar Boy, Biggins coming in the back here. Oh no, they've changed their target, trying to pin in these chariots. As Carrion, you know, they do decent damage here, but they are getting shot to pieces as well. Azag has hopped on top of the Chosen of the Gods and has been assisted by the Savage Orcs, and there's no way those guys are going to escape. We do have Tomb Prince and Setra also getting in there. This could be a turning point. If he can pin in Azag and tear him down, Greenskins have really poor leadership, and with Necro Sphinx, still roaming around, this could be huge. He needs to get Azag out there as quick as possible, but he looks like he's going to just about manage to drag himself through those Savage Orcs, who are now going to get to work pulling down all of these units. In the background, unfortunately, the Shopsy summon are just being wasted. They got summoned and then not, unfortunately, micromanaged, but it can be hard. Of course, there's so much going on at the same time. Carrion thinking of swooping in here. This is a pretty close battle overall. The Ushopti have finally been activated, and some Greenskins are rallying on the sides. Azag needs to stay on the air now and probably just spam Spirit Leech, etc. the Imperishable. Goblin and Spider Riders are coming in to try and finish off these guys, and the Tomb Kings may have been able to endure the slaughter here. Yes, their front line got mulched super quick, but in return, Savage Orcs, they're not very, resilient. They will take a ton of damage even against chaff. And now he just has a load of beat-up units left, and these heroes and Necrosphinx may be able to just simply slowly pick apart. And somehow the Chosen of the Gods are still alive. It's a bit of a dangerous situation here. Guard getting shot at, but such an Imperishable looks like it does manage to break off some of those Savage Orcs with help from the Tomb Prince. And up in the high ground, Carrion are hunting down the Goblin Wolf Riders as well. So Azag has been hit by an Incantation of Vengeance, but in return there is a Spirit Leech going down on Setra the Imperishable, who's hopping over here, trying to hop on top of his Necrosphinx to rally himself. Goblin Spider Riders swooping around here. I mean, this is so close. Setra's incredibly beaten up as well. Carrion thought it was a good idea to try and challenge Azag, even beat up as he is a monster, and he is not to be messed with. And it looks like the Tomb Prince fought on his own for too long without Setra around. His Savage Orc Biggins, triple gold chevron, 2 units, did enough work, and I think that could be game over. The Tomb Prince going down, Setra being isolated here, it's just not going to be enough. Azag, very lucky. If he got brought down and didn't escape that initial engagement, I think this could have turned out possibly the other way, been maybe a little bit even closer. Necrosphinx, though, is trying to rally over here to Setra, but Setra, Azag can just fly around, and with the little help he's got left, could just Spirit Leech him. All his units piling in, and this looks like it's going to be a victory for the mighty War. And Azag the Slaughterer, of course, led by Chosen One, representing. Setra the Imperishable down to 650 health, trying to escape. Unfortunately, Necrosphinx just being dragged down by all these Savage Orcs. Archify coming in, at least it's being consistent by the Rusty Arrows, of course, adding that armor sundering, so that's going to be really helping out. A lot of the Greenskins are running for the hills because they are terrified, but a lot of them will be returning. Any ground units, the Karens will die, and that is going to be game. What a series we have had. The finals went all the way, but it did end 2-1 in Chosen One's favour over Uzumaki, who did a very good account for himself considering this is his first ever competitive tournament. So just let the players know that was a real great set of games. Massive shout out to him, and that does allow him access into our finals. So far we have 2 champions who take part in our champions final. We have Flying Taco and Chosen One. Maybe you could be the next one. So of course we'll be doing another tournament in between 2 to 3 weeks time. Simply message me on Discord if you want to be involved, and I'm sure I'll be able to get you guys in and you'll be able to compete there. But what that, honestly, we had some super close games. Every series was actually really good. Chosen One winning both his sets 2-1, which is super close. If you guys have any questions, now is a good time to ask them, as, that's nearly the end of the stream. I like the Tomb King's Chariots, they're so cheap and cheerful, they're so good, man. Why is this matchup always a lonely Necrosphinx or Tomb Scorpion trying to drag down half a Greenskin army? It does seem to work out that way, but great battles, Chosen One. GG, well played, everyone. Bye. Sweet. So we do have our champion there. Fast games. I'm tired and have to wake up early, so see ya. I'll drop him a message just to let him know that he has got his place in the finals. Cool, so that's a peace out to them. I'm just going to leave the stream running for a couple more minutes now, in case you guys have any questions you want to ask, and if not, we'll leave it at that. Yo, Briggsy, what's up, my dude? You've literally just missed the tournament, I'm afraid. That was the very last game. Ash Tamos, can I go to bed now? No. You have to stay up for 24 hours. And in return, when I get to the 1,000 subs, I'm going to do a 24 hours stream in your name. Yeah, sorry, Briggsy man. You even got mentioned earlier on in the stream. I was talking about I've managed to cross that 100 subscriber mark, and I've got a few people who've been there from the very start, and I mentioned you're always popping up my Wood Elf videos, man. But don't worry, this it will take a couple of hours to fully download itself up onto YouTube, but then you can watch the whole thing. You can spend time with me, unfortunately, not in live. But yeah, that was super fun. I was surprised. Like, all the games were super close. Couldn't really ask much better. Especially considering we had, 3 brand new players, but they all brought something new. And I always like inviting players who haven't played in tournaments too much before. They come with a lot of off-meta builds. We've seen a lot of Skink Chiefs and so forth today. And yeah, it makes for a really interesting matchup and can throw a lot of the more experienced competitive players off their game. That was Tor. Don't know what that means, David the White Lizard, but I agree. That was a tournament and it was awesome. So guys, I think that is going to be it. Looks like we have 10 big thumbs up I can see, which is all good. That means 10 puppies have been born, so well done to all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you guys for all the subscriptions, likes, and all that good stuff I've been getting recently. Really does help motivate me to keep going, obviously, and helps grow the channel. Until next time, guys, stay awesome, peace, peace, and hopefully I'll see you guys all in the next tournament. Goodbye.